All right. Hi, everybody. This is A7X Fan Ben with God Mason and Xerix, and this is episode number 18 of the Pirate CSG podcast. This is the Frozen North set review. This set came out in 2007, and we're first going to talk about the main characteristics of the set. So icebergs were a new terrain, so I'll let you guys talk about what do you think of icebergs in general.
I like them. They're kind of fun.
I like them as a whole, but my problem is they don't really seem to affect games unless you can absolutely cover the board with them, and you've got like some active for every die roll. And even then, they're pretty easily avoided as a whole. So even if you do get a die roll and there's a ship near one, you still got only a 1 in 6 chance of the ship taking damage.
Yeah, I like the concept, but I don't really like the execution because I just don't like rolling for them. I just forget, and then even when I do, it's kind of annoying. It feels like a chore, even if it's only at the end of or beginning of a round rather than every player's turn. I just find it kind of annoying. I will say, I thought about this earlier today. One cool thing is that they're, in my opinion, the easiest custom terrain to make because you can just grab white styrofoam and just hack it apart, and then you have an iceberg. It's super simple and easy, and it looks really good. And so I like that aspect. And other terrain usually lies flat either on the surface or underneath, like a reef or Sargasso Sea or Whirlpool. So those aren't really, you wouldn't really bother with custom terrain for those. But with icebergs, it's convenient, simple, easy, and it looks really cool and adds like a 3D element to your games.
Yeah, my oldest sister works at like a factory where they make curtains, and she got like this blob of leftover glue that hardened into like this white kind of snowy looking blob around iceberg size. So we do die rolls on that, and we use that as an iceberg now.
Nice.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
I want to see the other thing that might make icebergs. Sorry?
I want to see like a picture of that sometime, see what it looks like.
Yeah, I've got a couple of them. Cool. I can post them.
Going back to what you said briefly about poor execution, I will say what's neat about icebergs, if they collide, they become one piece of terrain, which is really cool. So maybe it's not about like having like a ton of them, but if you had like 4 or 5 of them and they were all just one gigantic moving terrain piece, like if you taped like 3 or 4 of them together, even then I suppose you could still sail around it because they only go S when you move them. Is it S, or am I mixing it up with something else?
It's S.
Do you suppose they'd be more effective if you could move them L?
Yeah, that'd be interesting. That'd be a good house rule, I guess.
Yeah, I like that idea. Does anybody else have anything more to add about icebergs?
Yeah, real quick, there is a custom rules with when they hit something, or when they hit an island or other icebergs, they split, but then if they hit, they can also combine with other icebergs. So there's different, like if you have like a cluster berg, it can split off into individual ones again, or get even bigger. So just kind of house rules you can play around with. So, and I kind of like house ruling to have them move at the beginning of each round rather than every start of every player's turn, but you can play around with that depending on how much you like them. So that's all I got pretty much. Yeah.
All right. I guess I would like to push us on to icebreakers next. They were one of the 2 ship types introduced in Frozen North, and they did not reappear afterward. Icebreakers are a cool idea. They allow you to smash an iceberg with a ram action, but most icebreakers, as I covered in my ranking list, are actually pretty bad ships. There's like 1 or 2 of them that are all right.
Yeah,
pretty
much. And like the 1 or 2 that are all right happen to not be Viking, which is ironic in a way, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, that was like a card.
Yeah, I heard something that sounded kind of like an old racing game or something in the background.
Yeah, I heard that too. I don't know if that was my heater or what. I don't know what that was.
Yeah. Well, anyway, but yeah, icebreakers, I don't know. They're mostly mediocre. I think they're overpriced. I completely forgot about the first part of the keyword. They do ignore terrain except icebergs when given move action. That kind of justifies the cost a little bit more. Yeah, I forgot about that until recently, and then I I kind of like vaguely thought of it in CG3 because I'm commanding the Polaris privateer Viking icebreaker in that game, Massive Campaign Game 3. So she went over a reef without taking damage. So that was kind of nice. Not a great ability, but
that gives me an idea regarding icebreakers that I'm not sure we've thought of before. Could you use an icebreaker as something that you can put smoke shot or smoke pot specialist on and just make a barrier of fog banks?
I guess so, yeah. The problem is
I suppose you could.
Yeah, they disappear at the beginning of your next turn, so you'd have to...
Oh, yeah, I was about to mention that.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. Alright, I guess we could start the pieces, though. So the first one, the Vikings were introduced in this set.
Longships, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we could talk about those first. Longships, yeah, we'll get to those after a couple
Same kind of problems as icebreakers, for the most part.
Overpriced.
In the main, overpriced,
kind of unfitting ability.
Yeah, especially for, like, the ship type. Historically, longships didn't have a ton of firepower.
Yeah.
But the way they're presented in the game with 2 cannon shots per mast, it's a little...
Yeah, it's pretty silly. I don't like it at all. Yeah, theoretically, some or most longships historically didn't have any cannons at all. So it's really bizarre.
Giant crossbows.
Yeah,
and/or armed berserkers.
Yeah, it was like the opposite of what they should have done. And I like Captain Mike. He proposed on Pojo cutting the prices in half of each longship and then giving them only 1 shot per mast, which works decently. Some of them are underpriced in that case, but you can deal with it on a case-by-case basis like we did for the World game. So I think that's a good house though. So.
The Kettering is a really good example of that because you get 3 3L guns, SL move, and a canceller.
Yeah. And then, longship, 2 shots per mast. There's other stuff too. It can't pin or be pinned. If it rams, it gets +1 to boarding. You can rotate on the stern like a schooner after the final move segment. And
a galley.
Then it's got oarsmen essentially built in. So it is a pretty packed keyword. It's got a lot of stuff attached to it. So.
Do they really have +1 to boarding?
Yeah, if it rams, it gets +1 to boarding rolls. Yep.
I didn't know that.
Built in?
Yeah, that's part of the longship keyword. Yep. Yeah, it's pretty. It's a pretty stacked ability, which kind of that starts to explain the point cost a little more. But I mean, they're still not it, but it's
one thing I would maybe not would have changed, but one house rule I've come up with is rather than adjusting the point cost, in place of the 2 shots per mast, I suggested +3 to boarding rolls, which is kind of high, but I think is sort of thematic and partially justifies the point cost.
Maybe. I don't have too many longships, so I haven't used them a whole bunch.
Yeah. Sounds like you got a lot of little cars, though. Yeah, it sounds like some tiny little old car.
Where?
Anyway.
Right behind you.
So I guess we could start the pieces then. So the Vikings were the faction introduced in this set. I think they're like the smallest faction in the game, maybe. They're pretty mediocre, mostly because most of their ships are these 2 types that we just talked about, which are not so great. But they had some pretty powerful ships too. So number 001 is the Beowulf. It's an icebreaker. All icebreakers are 3 masts. This one's 13 points for cargo, L move. The cannons are 3S, 3L, 3L. And then she also gets +1 to boarding rolls and +2 against sea monsters. So it's kind of average as icebreakers go, maybe a slightly better than average, but for the cursed, kind of flagship of sorts, at least in terms of the set numbering, it's a little bit of a letdown. I wouldn't have minded.
You mean Viking?
Ability. So yeah, I think it should.
As you said, cursed.
Okay, yeah, but I think it should have more powerful ability. But I don't know, it's kind of boring to me.
The links are a little interesting too. It links to Ethan the Farseeker. He links to all Viking ships. But the second link, Sigurd Anderson, who is their fleet admiral. I mean, 9 times out of 10, when you use Sigurd Anderson, someone would try to put him with some kind of re-rolling ability.
Yeah, like the Polaris.
You could just chalk that up to the link system being wacky. But I would almost never put Sigurd on this ship unless I didn't have another choice.
Yeah, I would put him on the Polaris, which is the other Viking icebreaker that has reroll built in. Yeah.
Yeah, makes much more sense.
Yeah.
But that's just the links being wacky.
Yep.
I suppose.
In the context of Three Masters, I mean, because Icebreaker isn't really all that amazing in ability, it's okay. But this is one that's not super well armed. It's on the expensive side. It's not all that fast. The ability's unfitting. It's like it wants to be a hybrid, but it doesn't know that it should be at least 2 points cheaper.
Yeah. Cool.
Also, it looks like the picture in the database and the cannons are flip-flopped.
Yeah.
Because it looks like the 3S cannon would be in the front, but from the picture, it looks like the 3S cannon is in the back.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
So
it's either a database error or the card is like it says in the text.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, card misprint. All right. I may move us on to Wiglaf or Wigloff.
I think Wiglaf.
It is, I think. Wiglaf is... this ship is probably even worse because it's also 3 masts and 13 points. It also has 4 cargo space and L move. Its armament is better because it's all 3L. But
marginal improvement in my opinion. But
yeah, it's marginally better. But the ability is even less useful because it only gets +1 to cannon rolls against the cursed. And it's not even an icebreaker.
Yeah, it's like one of their, I think, 2 ships that are not a longship or an icebreaker.
I think you're right about that.
Because I think there's one other one that's...
There is. It's a
2-master, but
square
we'll get to that when we
2-master.
get there.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know what that noise is. I don't know. Sounds like a cargo fire.
I don't hear anything.
Okay, yeah, it's coming again right now.
Are you recording this on the highway by any chance?
No, I'm in my room. Could be my fan. Hang on, I'm going to turn my fan off and see what happens.
Yeah, maybe it's a... alright. Yeah, the Wiglaf is okay. I think it looks cool. The sails are pretty neat. It's a nice looking ship overall. But yeah, it's kind of average gunship. But yeah, Bill, if you want to do the Hrunting, however you pronounced it, that one's...
Yeah, I think Hrunting, that sounds about right. Alright, longship. This ship may dock at an enemy home island and load up to 2 treasures. If able, she must leave on your next turn. 17 points, 3 cargo space, base move L, 2S, 2S, and 2S. I don't know why low cargo ships have like the home island rating ability at all. There's no room for any kind of treasure or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, and with guns that good, you're putting a captain and a helmsman on this.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is a very expensive gunship.
Yeah.
Total point cost with just a generic captain and helmsman would be about 22 points. And then if you wanted to throw on a cannoneer and or firepot specialist, that's another 2 points.
Yeah.
And even though it has the oarsman keyword built into the longship ability, you still want to include an oarsman so that the ship can't be captured.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So very expensive capital gunship here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's accurate, but other than 2S, that's pretty much the only strength, really.
Yeah, 6 2S shots.
Yep.
The ability is good, but it's totally unfitting. It's like this belongs on another ship.
Yeah, like 5 cargo.
Yeah, this is absolutely something that you're just going to turn into a gunship and ignore the ability on, which is kind of a shame.
Yeah. All right, the next one is Nagling. This is another 3-masted longship.
That's
Viking,
racist.
of course. This one is 18 points, 3 cargo, L move. All 3 cannons are 2L, so the best guns you can get. Longship, and then it gets +1 to her cannon rolls against a ship that was previously shot at the same turn, which is not great. It's good in bigger games with big battlefields, a lot of ships, but this one is simply the most accurate Viking longship, just like the one before, but with 2 Ls. So it's a really powerful ship. I've used it pretty well a few times, but like I said, mostly in bigger games. It's just a lot to pay for the firepower, but it does have extremely good firepower. Even technically, even though it's fragile, slightly better than the Grand Temple with 6 2L shots. So that's pretty darn good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It is a bit slower than HMS Grand Temple, though, even though it does have the same hold size.
Not a bit, considerably slower. I mean, the Temple, if you toss on an extra same action twice crew, has a max speed somewhere up near 6S.
Yeah, I was just talking about
the fastest this will ever go is L plus S.
Yeah, I was only talking about the firepower, like as a base. But yeah.
Okay, yeah, fair enough then.
Yeah, this one is. I'm not sure if you can get better one-turn firepower than this at this cost, or at least one action. But it's it really isn't very fast nor durable for its cost. It's way up there in cost for a 3-master, and the ability you do need something to operate with this if you're going to use it.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have anything to say about it, Billy?
I wish I had it. I have the grunting, or one of my brothers does. I don't know if we have this one or not, but yeah, this I think this is better than the grunting as a straight gunship.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
One thing I have an issue with is just randomly longships are kind of tough to shoot with because the masts block each other pretty badly.
Yeah,
it's kind of
and
ugly,
they're tough to take the masts in and out of. I mean, the way they're built, they've got that one piece that goes right down the middle. So the mast stubs to go in, they've got that little fork thing.
Yeah, I remember that.
So those are like, whenever we take the mast out, we're like, okay, gentle. Okay, good, the mast is gone.
Yeah. If there's anybody out there listening that doesn't have a 3-mast longship, or any longships for that matter, almost all of them have like this sort of structural keel going down the middle, and there's a slot in the bottom of the central mast, maybe even the front mast, that you have to work around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say longships are one of the tougher ships to build.
Oh, they're a pain.
It's weird. And it's confusing.
Right up there with some of the smaller junk type ships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you get them out, it's confusing, especially with the decks at the bow and stern. It's weird because it's really easy to do it backwards and not realize it. So.
Yeah.
I think the first time I tried to build one, I wound up building it backwards. Or partially, I was like, okay, wait a second now.
Yeah.
Wait just a moment now.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're easy to break, I think. That bit at the back, I don't know what deck that's technically called. I doubt it's the poop deck, but I want to say it is. Just because I want to say poop deck. Yeah, that little bit at the back, I found that really hard to get in on the one-masted longships. Huh. Anyway, enough of that.
I usually pinch the sides of the hull together a little bit to get the
you have
all
to
3
do
slots
that.
lined.
Yeah.
I
always feel like I'm going to break it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Hugin is the next one, if that's how you pronounce it. This is a 15-pointer, 3-masted longship, 3 cargo space, L move, 2S, 2L, 3S. And on the turn, the ship rams, eliminate 1 crew from the enemy ship. This is, as far as it goes, a pretty decent deal for a longship. It's not got the greatest firepower, but it's still pretty good as far as cost goes.
Yeah, and the built-in plus on the boards with longship is handy for this then. Since you're ramming and therefore probably boarding another ship.
Yeah, pretty solid set of abilities if subpar firepower for its ship type.
Yeah.
Alright,
I think it's pretty good.
Agree with that.
Yeah, it's pretty good firepower and then really good ability. So it can be, I think it's good bang for your buck in terms of Viking 3-masters, more so than some of the other ones. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I'm looking at the flavor checks for this. It's like, Wolf Smasher has been charged with training future berserkers. So the warriors aboard his ship fight only when provoked. I love that name, Wolf Smasher.
Yeah.
Those poor wolves.
Wolves are an important thing in Viking mythology. They're either good or bad, depending upon myth, I believe. Not 100%
depending on how they're needed as a story device.
Okay, I suppose this one might take a look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, shall we move on?
Yeah.
We shall.
Alright, so the Munin. Alright, longship. After the ship resolves a shoot action, she may move as a free action. Okay, 18 points. The cargo space is S+S. Ooh, that's pretty quick for a longship.
Yeah.
And cannons of 2L, 3L, 3L. Okay, the reverse captain ability is overpriced to begin with, really. So, on the other hand, though, this is so far the fastest longship we've seen with the base move of S+S. So you toss on a generic captain and helmsman, and you've got a nifty little gunship going on, if extremely costly.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
for
that
a
comes in
strike
at
ship.
23.
Yeah, and then I've used this one defensively with the smoke pot specialist kind of effectively. I mean, it was just one game, but it's a reasonable combo. But yeah, it's pretty good as a first strike ship with up to SSS speed, and then a couple 2L shots at the bow is pretty solid to get the first strike in. And it looks cool too. I like the black and red sails, so decent.
Yeah, that looks very nice.
Yeah, it's a good-looking ship, and as you mentioned, the combination with the smoke pot specialist is really good for this, and you'd use one of the 3L shots on it, so you've got like the equivalent of really good 5-master firepower, but then you've got a place to run to while your opponent can't really retaliate.
Yeah. All right.
And if they position themselves to get close, then as soon as the fog fades, like you mentioned, you blow them away.
Yep, exactly. The next one is the Asgard. This is another 3-masted Viking longship, 17 points, 4 cargo, L move. Cannons are 2L, 3S, 3S, and then the other ability is if it wins a boarding party, she can take as much treasure from the other ship as she can carry, which is okay. I usually just use longships as pure gunships. This one does have the cargo to take 2 coins with a captain and helmsman, but still not a great ability. I guess it's fitting for Vikings, but not really for any of their ships, because almost none of them have enough cargo to really use it. I'd say this one is pretty much average. I guess it might be the best hybrid of the 3-masted longships the Vikings got, but as is, it's pretty average. So.
Yeah.
Ability's usable, but there are better ships with this ability for less with more cargo space. I want to say Le Décharge from the last set is like 1 trillion times better, and even then, that's not one that quite works. But then again, this one does get the bonus to boarding built in, so I guess you could make that argument. But yeah, as a whole, I think you're right in appraising this as kind of the best hybrid, but even then, these are such specialized ships that you're probably going to skip over it for a more specialized gunship.
Yeah, straight gunship. I'm looking at the links for these again. Once again, Ethan the Farseeker, links to everything. But Shania Dew, if I'm not mistaken, that is the Viking rerolling captain. So that's an interesting link.
Yeah, it's good.
The captain ability is handy.
Well, wait, now that you mentioned that's the link, not to interrupt you, that does, in theory, give you 3 cargo spaces to use if you use Shina Duix, which is how I'm going to pronounce it, and a helmsman.
3 cargo spaces for treasure. Toss on an orsman in case you lose, even with reroll.
Yeah, it's a surprisingly good link. Yeah, nice. Thanks for mentioning that, because I don't always pay attention to the links. They're usually not very good. So,
good point. I overlooked that.
Yeah. Nice.
All right. Do we have more to say about Asgard, or shall we move on to Hrothgar?
Yeah, I'm good.
Let's move on to Hrothgar.
All right, on to Hrothgar, as I called it, which is a 16-point 3-masted longship. This one also has 4 cargo, but it also has SS move. This one has all 3S guns. It gets +1 to boarding rolls against sea monsters, which is about as useless an ability as they come.
Yeah, especially since up till this point, the only sea monsters were from Davy Jones' Curse and the super rares from Mysterious Islands, and
yeah, so that's a terrible ability. But outside of that,
not bad.
Before you pointed out the link on Asgard, I would have said this would eclipse Asgard as far as a hybrid goes. It's faster, but the armament is significantly poorer, and the ability is basically unusable. So any cost savings and better speed are not really worth it. The artwork's great though.
Oh yeah, nice blue and white sails, stripe pattern.
The golden
the
skull
figurehead,
on the front.
yeah, the gold figurehead on the front looking thing, the light blue hull. It's very cool looking.
Yeah, I've always thought it was the easiest longship to distinguish because most of the other ones have red or black. This one's blue and white, so it stands out a lot. Yeah. This one's pretty average too, though. I don't really have much else to say about it. The firepower is a little bit lacking.
Well, for a longship, maybe.
Yeah.
3x cannons. That's average-ish. Not bad, not particularly brilliant though.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the only other one along with the Asgard that I would ever use for gold in any way. I mean, it's not Gold Runner, but
Gold Gathering is like, let's go get one coin.
Yeah, if you had to, this is one of the only Viking ships that could do it. Yep. No, that's it for the three masters then.
Yep, moving on. All right, here we go to the two-mast section.
First ship has a dirty name.
We have the Grendel.
That's inappropriate.
How is that so?
Well, if anybody cares to find out, you can look up the definition of grundle. I don't recommend it, though.
Okay. I'll save that for later, maybe. All right, we got 15 points, 4 cargo spaces, Espacel base move, so that's pretty quick. And very good cannons, too, of 2L and 2L. And we've got +1 to boarding rolls against the Cursed. And as part of a move action, this ship may initiate a boarding party against a ship up to S away from her without having to ram. A boarded ship may not use any boarding bonuses. A lot of the Viking stuff seems to be anti-cursed, and this is like, I guess you could say the crowning achievement of that, maybe? I don't know what to say. This one you probably could run as a hybrid. Put on a captain and an explorer, and yeah, that's about it, I guess.
All of its attributes are really strong. I mean, it's fast, it's really well armed, the cargo space is great, the S-board ability is good, the faction bonus is useless, but this is like, at most, I think, an 11-point ship. And even then, being part of the Vikings, it'd be hard to justify it then. If it were French or Spanish, maybe somebody might find a niche use for it. But as is, while it's got good stats, it's outrageously expensive.
Yeah, it's got good things going for it, but it's too pricey to use, really. And I would, at 15 points, I'd much rather use the Hugin above, which was that relatively cheap, good 3-master. So give you a lot more firepower and damage potential than this one. So
yeah, the Hugin gives huge ass firepower over this.
All right, the next one is the Woden. We're into the 2-masted Viking longships.
I like this one.
Yeah, this one's kind of weird, but it's 18 points for 2 masts, 5 cargo, L move. Cannons are 2L, 3S, and then if the ship wins a boarding party, she may capture the crew with the highest point cost. Instead of eliminating it, a captured crew becomes cargo worth its point cost in gold when unloaded at your home island. So the gold capture ability, like Bonnie Peel and Barstow.
That's why I like this ship.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to see it on a small ship. I mean, you get the +1 to boards with longship, and you can put a bunch of crew on, which is fun.
Because it's expensive and it has a huge hold.
Yeah, it kind of works in a way, but it's just so fragile that if you lose it, you're going to lose a ton of points, like, real quick. So it's really risky, but kind of fun. It's kind of fun in a really casual game, I would say.
Yeah.
It's got a bearded guy's face on the top of the main sail.
Oh, yeah. And it looks like a bird on the back sail, maybe? I can't tell from the picture in the database.
Yeah.
But fun little thing about this ship. Unless I'm mistaken, this is the only other ship that has this ability on it. Because otherwise, the gold capture ability has appeared always on a crew. The other ship that has this is from the Disney expansion. Is a pirate, obviously.
Which I think comes pretty soon, like 2 sets from now.
Yeah, after Ocean's Edge.
Yeah. This one, this is a really strange one because I think this might be the most expensive two-master ever released. It does have, I guess, reasonably good armament, great cargo space, and an ability that I really want to like. But one of my problems with boarding-focused ships is that they always have to be at least reasonably fast, and this is a base move of L. If this had a base move of S plus S or S plus L, it'd be a lot better. But as is, it's slow, fragile, and expensive.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Shall we go on now to the... Who's got the next one?
I think I've got this one.
Yep.
All right. The Donar, or Sonar. Oh, it'd be great if they gave this thing submarine killing abilities, so we could call it the Sonar Donar. But it doesn't because this isn't Mysterious Islands. Donar is a 13-point two-masted longship. The masts are 3S and 4S. It has 4 cargo space, SS base move, and L-range cannons cannot hit this ship. Because it's a small gunship, in theory, and a defensive ability like that is pretty useful, but the armament is not quite there. Yeah, the 3S is like average, that's passable. 4S, no thanks. So this is like, it's like a
mixed bag.
Yeah, this is a really strange one. It's faster than most longships. It's got good cargo space. Maybe it's supposed to be used as a gold runner.
Yeah, like an empty gold runner, like this with an explorer and maybe a helmsman.
Yeah, I usually
like we'll go a captain.
Yeah, I usually do helmsman, no explorer, and then the defensibility is pretty good on a ship like this. So yeah.
Even then, though, the longship keyword is inflating its cost, and I feel like this is kind of at most worth 9 or 10 points.
Yeah.
True.
Yep.
All right. Moving on, we have Freya. All right, 14 points, 5 cargo. Ooh, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Base move S. That's not nice. And 4S, 4L. That's less nice. Longship and crew of any nationality may use their abilities on this ship. That's quite interesting. All right, so
to Skull Blood Axe.
Yes, Skull Blood Axe. We'll find out what he does eventually when we get down there to him.
I think I can remember offhand. I think he's one of the crew where when you win a boarding party, you can choose of eliminating a mast, taking gold, or killing a crew.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. Well, this is one of the few longships that has, the cargo to get gold, but it's held back by the cannons of 4S and 4L as a gunship. And it's held back as a gold runner with the base move of S. Although the crew of any nationality ability, that makes it a wee bit interesting. Because you could throw on, because there's enough hold and point space, you could put some interesting combos on here. One I just thought of, throw on a captain and then the LE version of Griffin. You get +1 to cannon rolls and +L to base move. And so now you're moving around to S plus L.
No, it's S. It's
S?
Yeah, it's S.
Yeah. You could do a helmsman.
But still, that makes it quicker without using a helmsman.
Yeah, I think of maybe weird ones like Bianco's haulers can be shot at while docked, or I don't know.
That's another good one.
Yeah, that might be worthwhile.
It's an okay ability. I like it better on the Grand Barnacle, which is faster and more durable. I feel like I don't know. I feel like if you put some crazy crew on this thing, it's just gonna sink. I don't know. So I don't know.
Well, I get those Eternal American guys on here for 1 point.
Yeah, that's a good idea too. Actually, I like that. Good idea.
Yeah.
Then you're not dumping a ton of points on Davy Jones or something.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Freya's weird because I think, as I'm going to say a million times more, I think it's an underrated ability. And it does have a good link and great cargo space, but everything else is pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to justify the ship, but it's really making it hard for me.
Yeah.
And this is reminding me of the two master from the Disney one called the Paradox.
Oh yeah,
It's got almost the exact same breakdown, except it's like double the point cost of that ship.
It's
more than, I think Paradox is 4 points.
Yeah, it's more than triple the cost.
Oh, jeepers.
It's almost quadruple.
Jeepers. Okay, then. So, yeah.
Yeah, not too good. Maybe the worst of the 2-masters here. The next one is Fenrir. This one's another 2-masted Viking longship. 16 points, 4 cargo, L move. The cannons are 3L, 4L. It's got longship, and then it can dock an enemy home island and load up to 2 treasures. If able, she must leave on your next turn. This one, just kind of a really expensive hybrid, I guess. I would put maybe Captain Helmsman aboard, and then you've got some cannons that are okay, and then you can take a few coins from an enemy home island. But once again, for 16 points, you can get some of the 3-masters, basically.
Especially you can get Ghostwalker for that.
Yeah, exactly. So
you can get USS Mercury.
You can get the Blackwatch for that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah. So you can get most of the Viking 3-masters, but they're a lot better for a similar cost. So not too good.
I'm pretty sure every 3-master, or every Viking 3-masted longship has better firepower than this.
Yep. Exactly.
I don't think there are any of them that have 4 guns of any kind.
Oh, I think there is. I think we'll see it later.
I think one of the 3-masters has a 4 cannon.
There's a really bad one.
Oh, wait. Oh, I know which one you're talking about. Oh, Elsinore.
The purple one.
Yeah, it's a good-looking ship, but we'll get to that later. Yeah, Fenrir. This one you really do want to use as a home island raider. I want to put an oarsman and a helmsman aboard this and nothing else, and just do home island raids.
Yeah, that sounds about right for what you try to combo this with.
Even then, it's not really fast or durable enough to do that well.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of the good Viking combos involve just generic crew, for the most part, because a lot of their named crew, or like almost all of their named crew, are not very good.
Yeah, they have like 2 or 3 real stinkers, and I think they only have like 6 or 7 named crew, period.
Yeah. They have it's bad quantity and bad quality. So it's like really
they have a couple. They've got like 3 good ones. Shina Duax is kind of a crucial one.
Yeah.
Grim the Savage and Skuld Bloodaxe, they're all just part of the wrong faction.
I would argue that Sigurd can be included.
Oh, wait, yeah. Sigurd is important too.
Yeah, he's better than
Anyway, let's not talk about the crew yet because we're still on ships. We're drawing up on the crew, but before we talk about them, we have to talk about Sleipnir. We're getting into one of the two. I'm not an expert in pronouncing fictional Viking ships' names.
Supposedly this is the rope that binds the Fenris wolf.
Well, it's also binding. It's not really binding my attention that much because it's kind of a boring ship. So Sleipnir is the first of the 1-masted longships that we're going to talk about. This is 12 points, has a 2S gun. I guess you could call it 2 2S guns. 3 cargo space, SS move. When the ship carries no cargo, she gets +S to her base move, which I think is a pretty bad ability. And her base stats are nothing great either, and she's expensive.
Yeah. I like the ability on empty gold runners only. This one is only passable because the Vikings hardly have any gold options. So, I mean, the Donar, this one, and another 1-master we'll see soon are pretty much their best gold options. So, it's not a good ship, but if you're going Viking pure, this would probably be high on your list of gold runners, which is kind of embarrassing for them as a faction, but it still kind of holds true. So, but it's not very good, but
yeah.
Alright, so we're going on to the next one now?
Yep.
Alright, we have the Loki. Okay, 14 points, 3 cargo spaces, battle base move, another 2S cannon, and that 2-coin home island raiding ability in addition to longship. I feel there are better pieces that have that somewhere.
Like, was it Freya we were looking at, or is it Fenrir?
Yeah, Fenrir is better for 2 points more. So.
Yeah. Slightly more durability. You trade
more cargo
space,
though.
Yeah, more cargo.
Well, ideally, you won't even be getting shot at or doing any shooting with either of those ships.
Yeah, it's too fragile. Especially Loki.
Mm-hmm.
The trickster. It tricks you into thinking it's good, but it's not really.
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't trick me.
Well, maybe new players. It tricks new players.
Yeah.
It's like, we're old hands at this, guys. We know how this works. No, don't use this.
Yeah.
Funny thing, when the game was in print, I think I only ever bought one pack of Frozen North, and Loki was one of the ships I got out of it. And my brother broke that copy of Loki, and I didn't forgive him for years for it, which is really silly because I really wonder why I was so angry over the loss of such a terrible ship.
Maybe you were tricked by it back then, but not anymore.
Your powers have no effect on me anymore.
Yeah, like
you have no power here, old man.
Mm-hmm.
I recall a rage incident like that on my behalf when I accidentally broke my USS Constitution from Ocean's Edge. So I got really mad, especially since my brothers both went like, huzzah! And laughed.
That's neat.
So I was salty for like a couple of years.
Well.
And then you found out the Revolution version was better anyway.
Well, that's debatable. I mean, that's a debate for another podcast, maybe.
No, it's
let's not get into that here.
No, actually, no. We should argue about the merits of ships with multiple variants at some point, but not in this episode.
Like a future episode.
Yeah, we could consult with the no duplicates list that Wolf has.
Yeah, that exactly. Go through that and pick the best of each.
Yeah,
rank the best of each.
Oh god, endless ranking threads forever.
Yes,
to infinity.
Yes.
Yeah,
let's do it.
All right. The next one is Valkyrie. This is another one-masted Viking longship, 12 points, 4 cargo, L move, cannon is 3L, gets +1 to cannon rolls against the curse, but it's only got a couple shots anyway, so this one's, I don't know, I guess just kind of a boring gold runner. I would just put a helmsman aboard, nothing else. The cargo is good, but everything else is it's just not good enough, really, so too fragile.
Yeah, it's tiny, it's expensive, it's slow, okay, it's got decent cargo space, but you can't really use it that well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, unless you know you're going to be playing someone who plays the curse.
Mm-hmm.
In which case, maybe you consider using this as a tiny gunship, but...
Yeah, speaking of tiny gunship, it sounds like you've got one buzzing around you.
Yeah, is there like a vacuuming going on somewhere?
What it could be is like the fan in my laptop.
Huh.
Oh, it could be that, yeah.
I thought it was like a vacuum. Huh. Anyway.
No, there's no one vacuuming that I'm aware of.
Do you have like tiny microscopic cars driving up and down your arms?
Probably.
No, not that I can see.
Like
I feel like that's a really old TV skit. I don't know why I remember that just now. Ernie Kovacs. Maybe those tiny little cars are going to get into a Ragnarok because the next ship is Ragnarok. Ragnarok is 13 points. Its only gun is 3S. Cargo space 3, base move L. If this ship succeeds at a boarding party, she may eliminate all of the other ship's crew. Are we sure that this isn't an LE ship from Mysterious Islands? Because this is terrible.
Rarity says common.
Are you sure, though? Are we sure this isn't like something that escaped from Mysterious Islands? Because this is bad.
Oh, well.
Yeah. This is like Frozen North. That's what it's all about right here.
Yeah.
At least for the Vikings. Some of the stuff later on, like that belongs to the other people in the set, is decent, but this is kind of bad. It's like the lowest of the low for the Vikings, maybe.
Yeah, even that one Grendel. I mean, while that was expensive, you could at least excuse it because it had above average attributes everywhere except the point cost.
Yeah, true. Yeah, this one's really bad, I would say. Oh well. Bill, you get the impossible pronunciation next.
Now you get to pronounce it exactly how it looks like. It's Hilskif.
I'm gonna give it a go. I'm gonna say it's Hlidskjalf.
Hilskif.
Interesting.
Wait, you know what I bet they did for this? It's like, we need a name for this ship, and then they just pounded their fists on the keyboard.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's spelled HLIDSKJALF. Pronounce that.
Yeah.
Hilchkiff.
No thanks. Need more vowels in between or something.
Wait, how many? It only has 2 vowels. Holy crap!
Yeah.
Yep, I and A.
2 vowels in a 10-letter word.
Oh my god.
Wait till you see the one after it. Ben gets to have fun with that one, bud. Anyways, the Hilchkiff, 13 points, 2 cargo space, S+L base move. Yay! A quick ship for the Vikings, in comparison. You've got a 3S cannon attached to that single mast, and an ability that is interesting, kind of. It cannot be shot at by ships with an S of her.
Which is useless on a one-masted ship.
That depends maybe on how you position your ship and where you measure the S from. Because the oars that stick out, you could technically say those are part of the ship.
Mm.
So you get was like the hull and the mast and everything are outside of the S, but like the edge of the oars is within S.
That's what I hate about those S ships too. So annoying.
Yeah.
I was just listening to the podcast with Red Dragon. They were talking about them on the online game. They actually got banned in that, at least temporarily, because they were too good. So, which isn't too surprising.
Yeah.
Any ship that has this ability is worth talking about for at least a little bit, because that ability is so good for the person controlling it, bad for the person trying to kill it. On a one master, the way around that is to just ram it. But otherwise, this can be quite a nasty little pest of a ship. And it's like a one-masted gunship with only 2 cargo spaces. So at least this has a good base move. Like, if this had a base move of S or L, then not even the ability could save it from being not usable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's got S+L and that ability, it's occasionally worth using. It's like, hey, I'll give this a try. Maybe it'll work.
Yeah. I don't really like it, partly because I don't like the ability at all. I don't know if I've used it as a gunship yet. It could be an empty gold ship, I guess, but I just don't like it at all.
Yeah, but 2 cargo spaces, that's not a whole lot of coinage you might be able to take.
Yep.
I think its best use is as a desperation move in Scrabble.
Yeah. With that name.
Wait, how many points would that name be worth in Scrabble?
I don't know. I don't play Scrabble.
Sorry, wait. I'm going to look this up. Scrabble scoring.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Letters.
Okay, I just looked it up online. It says pronounced roughly Blith Skjalf. So
yeah, it was pretty close.
With the Y being a slide vowel, like the Y sound in few. I don't know. So yeah, Norse mythology. It's the high seat of the god Odin, allowing him to see into all realms. So.
I wish they would maybe I kind of wish that WizKids had done research on the things they named the ships for, so this could have that spying ability or something.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yep.
Okay, I did the math. Hlidskjalf is worth 20 points in Scrabble, but because it's probably a proper noun, I don't think you could play it.
Oh.
Never mind the fact that it's 10 letters and you can only play 7 in one turn.
Oh. Wow.
No, I don't play Scrabble, so I wouldn't know. Well, I don't play Scrabble often.
Often enough to care about the rules.
All right, Ben, you get to have fun with the next one.
Oh yeah, Yggdrasil. That's how I think of it. But this is another one-mast Viking longship. 12 points, 2 cargo, L move. The cannon is 2L, and it has a good offensive ability. Once per turn when this ship hits an enemy ship, also eliminate one crew from that ship. So, I mean, at least it's not pretending to be anything. It's just a cheap, or not cheap, but it's just a small Viking gunship. So captain and helmsman, and then you have 2 2L shots, and the first hit will take out a crew. I mean, obviously not a good deal for 17 points, but I mean, at least it's got a purpose. It's not hiding anything, so it's all right, I guess. As their one masters go, not very good.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool looking. Got a lot of green on it, so it's nice.
Yeah, it's got the little tree symbol on the mast, on the sail.
The artwork is great.
Composed in the one in the background.
Yeah,
I get a feeling that with that name, I kind of wish this was like a fort or one of their 3 masters. Because Yggdrasil is supposed to be the world tree. It connects all the realms. It's supposed to be this massive thing, so it's a piddly little one-masted longship. Like, I'm underwhelmed.
Yeah. It's great artwork, but it's at least 4 points too expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably 5 points.
I can think about the Royal James is same ability, but just way better in every way. So
2 points cheaper, faster, better crew selection, bigger hold.
Yep. 4 points cheaper because it's got the same ability. That's why I thought of it. But yeah, it's way better.
And then there's the Panda too, but you know.
Yep.
Anyway.
Executioner.
Your favorite ship.
Yeah, it's been long enough that I've forgotten my meme.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
Anyway, you know who hasn't forgotten my meme? Sigurd Anderson, which is a rare 6-point crew for the Vikings, and he's a fleet admiral linked to Beowulf, which we already talked about. This is it's kind of funny how the Vikings, possibly the second worst faction, got a fleet admiral, and the Spanish didn't.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
He's also got +1 to cannons against the cursed, basically for free.
And a sick beard.
Oh, yeah. A beard worthy of a dwarf from Middle Earth.
Although, yes, now that you point that out, I think I'd argue that makes him, faction for faction, one of the best fleet admirals. The Americans get, I think it's Preble.
Yep.
Who
I called him Pebble for the longest of times because I didn't see the R.
Yeah. I'd say Preble is probably better, but Sigurd is probably the second best within his own faction.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I think he's best used with Shayna, the next crew, Captain Reroll, on a 3-masted longship, or on the Polaris, which has reroll built in. So those are the 2 combos I use Sigurd with most, because I really like reroll with fleet admirals, as people know from campaign game 3, because I had one of them is Zheng He. The Baochuan was wrecked, but I still have 4 AA Admiral's Action crew, and they all have reroll. So instead of 4 rolls for 6, I get 8 rolls if the first one doesn't work. So it's pretty good. Yep.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yep.
Right. I think we've already kind of talked about Shayna Duex already.
Shayna, I say Du.
Yeah.
Because the Duex, it sounds like you're trying to mispronounce something that's French.
Well, now that you mention it,
that's just me.
Well, now that you mention it, she really does have a pretty French, like a very French name. So maybe she is canonically. The only thing that I think bears mentioning about her is a link to Lars Valgard, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, when we get to good old Lars.
Yep. So I guess, Billy, why don't you start Skuld Bloodaxe instead of Shayna,
or whatever her name is.
Yeah.
All right, so Skuld Bloodaxe. Love that name. That's a fun name. If this ship succeeds at a boarding party, choose 2 of the following: eliminate a crew, take a treasure, or eliminate a mast. And he links to the Freya. Before we go any further, he is 7 points each. A bit expensive. And the Freya... crew of any nationality. And flyer of cargo with S, basically.
Yeah.
Alright, okay, the longship that when it rams another ship, eliminates a crew in addition to a mast, that would be the ship I'd put him on. Whatever that one was.
Yeah, Hugin.
It's one of their 3 masters.
Yeah,
the
right.
Hugin. Yeah, the Hugin. So I would put him on there, or one of their non-longship or icebreaker ships.
Yeah.
I think maybe he's a little too expensive, because I think this same ability shows up later on, like to the French for like 5 points.
Yeah.
On one of the regies of Captain Arezio.
Yeah.
Yeah, to me it's only worth like 3 or 4 points to me personally, but oh well.
Between all the boarding win abilities, this take all treasure, kill all crew, this one's got to be my favorite because you can take down masts and it's just more flexible based on the situation.
I'm like the opposite. I don't see this as particularly valuable to me at all.
Me either.
Because when I do boarding in my games, it's usually against ships that don't have any mass at all, which is part of just how I play, so I don't wind up with a ship that gets pinned. And I almost never board to take a treasure unless it's like in a tournament game. So I only ever board to like eliminate crew. So that's why I like the pieces that eliminate all crew or stuff like that. So to me, he is kind of I suppose maybe amongst the Vikings he's okay, but he's not one of their better crew in my opinion.
Yeah, here. Yeah, to me it's just not worth using for that cost. I think at 3 it would be more reasonable, but
He's got some nice artwork.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting, yeah.
Looks like he's got like crescent moon horns on his helmet.
I know, I've never understood what that is, but yeah, it's interesting.
Maybe he used to be a Barbary Corsair?
Yeah, maybe.
Looks like the one kind of represent axe heads or something on his helmet.
He's the one Viking name crew I don't have yet, but I like the next one a little bit more. Olaf Lindstrom, 6-point Marine, basic. Should have been 5 points or 4, but it's okay. I've put him on the slipstream in CG3. I don't know. It's just not. Vikings already get. The longships already get 2 shots per mast, so to put a Marine or a Musketeer on is sometimes overkill or just kind of unnecessary. He does have cool artwork. It almost looks like he's in the apocalypse or something, but
he's got a bow and arrow. It looks like he's got like a quiver on his back. One of those pinhead helmets. So I call them the helmets that come to a point. I don't really like them, but that's just me. Since he's a Marine, you could drop him off on an island to do like some island control. Couldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted.
So like have him on one of those gold runner, gold gathering longships, drop him off on an island, the first one you get to, and have him there to just kind of guard it against anyone. Since he'll need to be shot twice in the same shoot to kill him if he's on an island. So this is one of those few instances where a Marine might be better served on an island.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds right. I think, as a 6-point Marine, he's just super vanilla, and we've kind of established how we feel about Marines in past episodes of the podcast. So as far as
wouldn't he have been the cheapest one so far up to this point?
I think
because all the previous ones were like 7 or 8.
I think so, because they didn't start throwing the hostile keyword in for another few sets. And the situation there is pretty grim. Speaking of which, we're now going to talk about Grim the Savage, who's 6 points and has the only instance of this ability in the game. This ship may dock at an enemy home island and take as much treasure as she can carry. If able, she must leave on your next turn. The hard part about using this ability is that the Vikings have kind of they don't really have any ships that really can use this ability to its full potential. Either they're slow as heck or they have a tiny cargo space.
Yeah.
And this is a super powerful ability, so you have to go international. But even then, it's really tough to find a ship that's fast and has a really big cargo space to make the most use of this. I think I've seen him used multiple times on 10 masters in fleets.
Yeah, the treasure ships.
Yeah.
Like the Guishan or the Balhuan.
Yeah.
Maybe some of like those few ships that have like 8 or 7 or 6 cargo spaces on them.
Yeah.
The Americans or the pirates. Well, no, most of the pirates, because they've got cheap ways to bring in crew of any nationality on their ships.
Yeah, although the problem with throwing Grim on, say, Dark Hawk 2 is
6 out of the 10 point cost.
Yeah, and even then, do they even have any plain 3-point
Anna Maria
nationality crew?
Anna Maria.
Yes,
Disney
they
Pirates.
do. You're right.
And then Disney Pirates is the only other place I've seen this ability on a ship, mind you, though.
Yeah.
So he's the only person who has this ability on a crew. which makes him extremely more versatile.
Although, one of the other things I'd like to point out, if you use Darkhawk 2, which I think has the most cargo of any pirate ship in the game, am I correct there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it is. Any pirate ship that's not a 10 or anything like that.
Unless you use Jonah, you can't fit a helmsman, which means you're going to go there at L, and since you're going to fill your hold, you'll be leaving at S.
Yeah.
So maybe stick to trying to fit him onto like a treasure ship.
Yeah.
Where the crew don't take up cargo space.
Yeah, Grim is at times really tough to use, and that's the only real mark against him. He's part of the wrong faction.
I've enjoyed putting him in some high-priced fleets. I did use him in a fleet with some hoists. It got kind of crazy. I think it's like an 150-point fleet, but it's one of my favorites I've submitted here. It's kind of wacky. I got Lady Kamel to get him on, to get Grim on the Maui's fishhook, and then I have American native canoes to yank the coins off with their special ability to try to get the coins away from the enemy home island like as fast as possible, and then the treasure like scatters so that it's harder to track down and stuff. And then I did use him successfully in a game against Bill, actually, like he said, on the Guichuan treasure ship in like a really weird game. It was like a custom Waterworld rule set from Brett V45. It was like 200 points, and it's one of the better games I've played.
Game.
Yeah, one of the better games I've played, but it was one of the only games I ever played where everything I did worked perfectly to like a crazy extreme. It was like the most perfect game I've ever played, maybe.
Yeah, one of the most one-sided games in a while.
Yeah,
outside of like the Tournament 2 stuff.
Yeah, it was very bizarre, but pretty crazy. But
I think I've done a variation on what you were describing, Ben. Do you remember there was like a Home Island Fleet Raider? There's like a Home Island Raider Fleet Challenge. I submitted an American one where I put Grim on Mohican and used...
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then used Frontier to evacuate the gold.
Nice.
Yeah, that one was... I think that was one of the better ways to use Grim in a small game, but obviously he's at his best in a much bigger game.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And he's kind of a one-trick pony, because as soon as your opponent figures out this guy's going to steal 6+ gold in one turn from their home island, you're going to have a lot of trouble using him again.
Yeah. That's the thing about the fleet I use, because I had a cursed crew like Tabitha that allows crew of any nationality. So then I had, if you have that on the Guichuan with treasure ship, crew don't take up power space, and then you have Grim, and then you get Bianco's haulers, which says the ship can't be shot at while docked. Then you have a 10 master that can't be shot at while docked while you take all their gold. So it's pretty brutal, but it does require, I don't know, 60 points without support. So it's you want at least 100 points to optimize Grim to its full potential. But he's a really fun crew, and like you talked about, really unique. I'm glad we spent a good amount of time on him because he's really cool.
I just thought of something going back to your was it the American one you used him on, God Mason?
Yeah.
Since they're technically generic crew, if you stacked enough of them, you could use cargo masters to make this even better.
I would I mean, officially under the rules, yes, but at the same time, I kind of play under a house rule that they're not, like, it's not that they're not generic crew, but the ability to stack that is so powerful that it's something that, like, I am literally never going to build a fleet around.
Yeah, I don't really like cargo masters in general, so I can't disagree with you there.
Yeah, I think cargo masters should have had the limit keyword on them. Because of just how good they are, how well they scale with fleet size.
Yeah, I think they should be 3 ships or 5 get +1 cargo. Then they can't be abused in big games. But
the only hard part about that is because I think that would be hard to keep track of. That's my only real criticism that I have with that.
I just don't think limit's that much of a drawback, personally. At least I haven't found it to be, for the most part.
Yeah. All
right, so who gets the next guy?
I think it's you get Ethan the fart sniffer. I mean, that's what his artwork looks like he's doing. He looks like he's in the middle of a whiff.
Yeah, the artwork for him is a little weird. It's like some kind of odd oil-looking painting with an indistinct background. Anyways, 4 points. And this ship ignores terrain except icebergs when she's given a move action. Islands are not terrain. Duh. Once per turn, if this ship is within S of an island, you may mark the island as explored without docking at it. The island becomes unexplored in regard, and the database cuts off right there.
Cars are back.
So it's S explore plus terrain ignore.
It links to all Viking ships, and I don't know what's so great about him.
Yeah,
I mean, the terrain ignore, that's handy, I guess, for the longships.
Yeah.
Because icebreakers can do that by themselves. But the S explorability is... it's kind of got the same stigma that broadsides does. Like the broadsides attack, people either really love it or really hate it. So, and I've never found a use for it really in anything.
Yeah. Within the Vikings, I would put him on Grendel with a helmsman and just use him to explore islands.
Yeah, makes sense.
At SSL with, terrain ignore and then proximity explore.
Yeah, like a scouter for your slower, more cavernous, or your slower ships that have, in theory, more cargo.
Yeah. Ethan the Farseeker is basically Gale Force 9 in crew form.
Yeah. He kind of looks like, Hiccup from the first How to Train Your Dragon movie. A little bit.
I only ever read the How to Be a Pirate book. I never realized that... that was a fun little book when I was young. I never realized that that was what was going on. I just thought it was like some kids movie when it came out.
Yeah.
I really should just see it for the sake of it. Do you have anything to say, Ben?
No, not really. I've tried to use S Explorer, but it wasn't very successful. That's all.
All right.
Yeah. Lars Valgard is the next one. He's 5 points. When another face-up crew on the ship would be eliminated, turn it face down instead. So the doctor ability, I think it's worth 4. So it's pretty pricey. A link to Shayna, like we talked about. It's an okay link, but the Vikings don't really have a lot of big gunships with big cargo holds where you can protect a lot of crew. So I think Lars is mostly useless crew for the Vikings.
Don't have a whole lot of crew worth protecting either.
Yeah, exactly. So he's not very useful overall. But oh well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that those abilities are of questionable use on, even in bigger factions. So having one that's part of the second worst faction doesn't really make any sense to me.
No.
They should have just gone with anything else, even a plain SAT crew.
Yeah, something used.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have made the link actually really good.
Oh yeah, that would have.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have made that an excellent link. That would have brought a lot of life to the Vikings.
Oh heck yeah! I mean, they don't have any. Now that I'm looking at this extra action crew.
Yeah.
I mean, there's Sigurd, but that's like a fleet.
Yeah.
But they don't have a sim action twice. They don't have an extra action. They don't have the sack or anything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, even I think the Corsairs and the Jade Rebels and the Mercenaries had some kind of that, even if it was overtly expensive. In some cases, they had one of those crew.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Vikings kind of stink.
When it comes to crew, yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
In general.
Anyway, don't be so hard-hearted about Vikings, because we're going to talk about Stoneheart now, which is the first of the pirate. The first of the pirate ships in here. Stoneheart is a 13.5 master. The guns are all 4L. The cargo space is 4, and the base move is L. So this is basically 4L in ship form. And its ability is just a plain reroll with a link to Vlad the Iceblood. This is not statistically a very good ship. And correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Black Swan the same point cost?
Yeah. 13.
Black Swan has, the same point cost, but
you get better guns.
Different ability.
Yeah, better ability, better guns, I think a better base move. Stoneheart's
SSS versus L. Well, I wouldn't use this to go cannon fighting. I'd use this maybe as some kind of boarding-oriented ship because of the reroll.
I guess
so. Like 5 masts. That just for me that screams put an S border on here to board away from S, so I don't have to worry about being pinned or any of that stuff. Reroll, I can use that for pretty much anything. Boarding, same action, mysterious island. So, yeah, this is not a very good straight brawler, but I wouldn't say this is a bad Viking 5-master, because reroll is one of the best utility abilities. Oh, yeah. Duh. I know what I'm talking about. This is one of the, it's not a bad pirate, fiver.
I think it's bad compared to the other stuff they have. Like,
okay, yeah, compared to the other things they have, it's like not as brilliant.
Yeah, I'm thinking about Black Swan and Victoire, and I mean, even Grand Barnacle is a little better. Deliverance is far better. I don't really see a specific use. I mean, maybe put one of their Admiral crew on there to get the reroll built in, but other than that, it's just kind of meh. It's very meh. It's just nothing. So
it has
kind of describes this whole set. Meh.
Yeah,
most of it.
Yeah, Stoneheart's problem is that the thing with like a lot of bad ships is that they at least have one redeeming ability that's like way above average. This is kind of at average or below in every respect. The only way it's special is because it's big, and it doesn't make good use of that.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
You could just make you could just jack up the speed to like LS. It would be about right, or make all the guns like 3L. And it wouldn't even be underpriced or OP. So yeah, pretty mediocre or worse. The next one is way better. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, is this me for the Diamond Strike?
Yeah.
Alrighty, Diamond Strike. Okay.
He struck gold.
I got diamonds. It's better than gold. Alright, we got 14 points, 4 cargo spaces, base move of L, all across the board, rank 3 S cannons. Alright, that's the abilities now. This ship gets +1 to her cannon rolls against any non-pirate ship, so the world-hitting ability. And once per turn, you may eliminate one of the ship's crew to give her an extra action, so you've got Sack built in.
Damn, I do.
Yeah. So this is quite an interesting ship here. Even for the pirates, you have, interesting things, period, across the board. So even though the cannons are printed at 3S, you're essentially sailing around with like a 2S rank cannons, and you've got the ability, one of the best ways to get extra actions in the game, to just eliminate one of your crew.
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of nifty things you could probably do with this ship.
Yeah.
You could put a helmsman and an explorer and load it up with oarsmen and sack out to an island really quickly to get some gold. You could put a captain and helmsman on here and sack food and go that way.
That's what I do.
You could get fun and crazy and put Captain Nemo on here and sack the crew that you eliminate, or sack the crew that you capture.
Yeah.
So this is one of those weird ships or odd ships where the combos for this could never really be completely flushed out.
I think they can. You just need to spend time on it.
A lot of
that might be true, but the pirates, by the fact that this is pirate, means you can do a whole lot of weird stuff with it.
Yeah, lots of crew combos.
With like Sack Doctor Crew and the 2-point recruiters, right? Or does that combo not quite work?
I don't know. That one's confusing.
Okay, I don't think you can sack a crew. Okay, no, if you sack a crew, it has to be completely eliminated, otherwise you don't get the extra.
Yeah.
So using a doctor with that ability doesn't work. The only way to get what you're talking about with the recruiter to work, you would have to have someone board your ship, win the board, choose to eliminate a crew, and you choose to specifically to eliminate your recruiter crew.
Can you shoot at your own ships?
No, you can't shoot your own ships.
Okay, because that would be a good way to just kind of cheat that.
The only way you could shoot your own ships is if someone rolled a 6 on an all-powerful. That's the only way you could do that.
Then you have to get them to shoot at the ship you want to get shot at.
That's a good point, too. It's like, typically when someone rolls a 6 on an all-powerful, they look to find ships that are within, striking range of each other.
Yeah, I would say the Diamond Strike is one of the best, brutally effective gunships out there. Two of the best combative abilities ever, both built in. Even one would be quite good for this point cost. So basically you have 4 2S cannons, and then I would probably just go relatively basic and do Captain Helmsman, and then I guess probably 3 oarsmen, and just really smash everything. So
it's a simple, effective, and kind of budget-wise 4-masted dreadnought.
Yeah.
Just imagine if it was faster base move, it would be extraordinarily powerful.
Yeah.
It's a good thing, I guess, that its base move is L.
Yeah, I think so. The next one is Jaguar Spirit. This one is another 4-masted pirate ship, 12 points, 3 cargo, SS move. All the cannons are 3L, and it gets +1 to cannon rolls against a ship that was previously shot at by another ship this turn. This one's not nearly as good. The speed and cannons are a little, the cannons aren't better, but they're long range, so that's nice. It's kind of just a basic gunship, though. I don't really see anything that really stands out too much. I would just do Captain Helmsman, maybe oarsman, or an equipment, but I will say I don't like the artwork. It's strange. It's got this yellow design towards the bottom. It's kind of a weird, yellow-green gray. I don't know.
I think it's kind of cool looking, in my opinion.
Okay.
It's kind of nifty. Sets it apart from other pirate ships.
I just don't like
or just other ships in general.
Yeah.
I like it because it talks about in the flavor text how it's crewed by Mayan villagers, which I think implies it's supposed to be kind of a Mayan-styled ship, and it does look like that to me. So I like the artwork, but I don't think the ship is anything that special.
Yeah, the rest of that flavor text, who fled the Spanish Main hundreds of years ago, so it's how did these guys wind up in the north? It's wait a second now.
A couple hundred years. You think they could have sailed up there by then?
Yeah, they finally rowed themselves up there in their catamarans and found this thing. Or whatever.
You don't need to row. This has masts and sails.
Okay, fair enough.
Somebody tell them then.
Yeah, they must have captured it or something. I don't know how they build it big. Yeah.
By the way, who's got the gruesome job of talking about the next ship?
Oh, you
do. I think you do.
Yeah.
Oh, I do? Lucky
before
me.
you do, I'm going to interject here. Whoever built this and took the picture for it for the database has got me so mad.
Yeah.
Because they put the last mast in the
white
third mast spot.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That gets me so mad when I see it, because they've broken the deck or messed with the deck to make that mast fit in there.
No, don't they all have the same slot size?
I don't think so.
No, the back one is a little wider.
Yeah. We've played so much, we know it.
You know what I want to do one of these days then, just to make Cyrex cringe? I'm going to get a bunch of some 4-masted schooner from Ocean's Edge and just put 3 back masts into the deck.
If
Anyway.
you do that, I might go to Colorado and hurt you or something, or wherever.
And I would deserve it. Anyway, as you were saying, the picture of this ship we're about to talk about is utterly gruesome, which is fitting because the ship's name is Gruesome. It's an 11-point 4-masted schooner that, as we talked about, has a horrible messed up picture with the 4th mast in the wrong spot. Those masts are 2S, 2S, 3S, 4S. It has 3 cargo and a base move of S+S. And once per turn, the ship may randomly take 1 treasure from any ship she touches. This is it's just kind of boring for a 4-master.
Yeah. The ability would be better if the cargo was 4 as opposed to 3.
Yeah.
And then it would be a much more interesting ship. Because you could ram a ship, let the ability kick in because you're touching it, then do the ramming and the shooting and the boarding, and then if you win that board, you could potentially, I think, take another treasure.
Yeah.
But to do that, you'd need at least 2 open cargo spaces, and you're never going to have 2 open cargo spaces on here, because there's only 3, and you need a captain and a helmsman.
I think it's slightly underrated, especially because the next one is admittedly way better, but I kind of like the Gruesome. I kind of have a soft spot for it. I think it's a solid ship, not great. I kind of like schooner to turn into the other ship, not ram it, and then board that way. Or not board, but use the ability, I should say, because then it just requires touching. and then you don't risk losing the helmsman or whatever in a board. And the guns are okay across the board for the most part. I like how the 2 S's are towards the front, so if you didn't want to take a treasure, you get like a firepot specialist. It's not great, but I think it's a little bit.
Yeah, the most accurate cannons in the front.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
I want to use Spanish main Jack Hawkins on this, as well as maybe Joe Card plus a helmsman, but that's kind of going nuts with a ship that's supposed to be on the cheaper end.
Yeah. It's a decent combo, though.
The artwork looks pretty interesting, because I think I have this one somewhere, and it's drab and crusty looking, which is, I guess, appropriate because of the flavor text.
I thought you were going to say... I thought you were going to say it's drab and crusty looking, just like me, but...
No, I'm not drab and crusty looking yet. I'm still pretty young.
I'm happy for you.
Anyways, the crew have decked it out to make it look like a cursed vessel. Yeah, in a first glance, I would say this could be a cursed vessel. It's not for that little skull and crossbones flying from the stern. But I'm looking at the picture in the database again. They even messed up where the second mast goes, because that's the 3S cannon there.
You're right. Oh, man. Every single one of the other masts is in the wrong spot.
Except for that front one.
I bet you that front one was sitting second back at some point.
Oh, maybe. Well, I don't know. I do like the fact that the most accurate cannons for this are in the front. So if you do decide to not be tricky and just ram into people, that way your 2 most accurate cannons are in the front and most likely going to hit. Therefore,
I think the car is about to ram into you.
Something somewhere is like eating up the memory on my computer, so my fan for his built-in fan is going nuts for it.
Your car must not be very fuel efficient.
I'm actually getting worried about my computer because I'm like, I've got it up on like 4 dice to help air get under there, so it doesn't overheat too much.
Have you changed its oil recently?
No, but it's heating up, so I might have to turn on my other fan that I have to try and cool it down.
Ooh, we have a competitor in the car race. Nice.
I haven't turned it on yet, so.
All right.
All right. So, do I have our next ship up?
I think you do.
Yep.
Oh, goody. All right. Next ship is the White Rose. 15 points, 5 cargo. That's very nice. Base move, Esposel. That's even better. Cannons. 2S, 3L, 3L, 3L. That's okay, I guess. Schooner. This ship may dock on an enemy home island and load 1 treasure. If able, she must leave on your next turn. That's a decent ability to combine with high cargo space. So I like that combination. Yeah, and good speed and durability, so you're not instantly killed for taking someone's hard-earned loot, I guess you could say. 5 cargo spaces and 15 points. There's enough space you could put on a captain, a helmsman, maybe a smoke pot specialist to help you get away if you have extra actions or something. Or, I'm not sure. But, yeah, as compared to the gruesome above, this is a much better overall ship, I would say, probably.
I think
it's a little bit more expensive, but with the abilities you've got and the improvements, speed and cargo-wise, I would say that's a fair trade-off.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best ships in the whole set, and I would say it's a pretty good general-purpose hybrid, because you've got good cannons, you got cargo for getting gold from islands, or getting it from enemy ships, or enemy home islands, so it's like a multi-purpose hybrid raider-type ship. Good artwork, too. I mean, it's just stacked. There's nothing wrong with it. Everything is pretty much everything is a pro. There's no cons really. It's just a really good ship overall.
Yeah.
I would probably try to put like SAT or extra action on it to make it really fearsome.
You could
you could sub this out. Yeah.
You could just put plain old Hammersmith on there and just send it out as a basic hybrid.
Yeah, too.
Or if you wanted to, you could sub this out for the Neptune's Horde for some of those Norvegia builds.
Yeah.
Because it's the exact same price, exact same cargo, exact same base move.
Nah, Neptune's Horde is 12. So
that's why it's better for those 15.
Nah, it's even better. Yeah.
Oh well. I like the name though, the White Rose, for the group shippers out there.
It's funny because it doesn't really have much white on it.
Yeah.
No, except for like on the sails, we've got like what looks like a rapier and some kind of rose crossed on the sails. The back three outside the front bow one.
I feel like it looks like a mysterious island ship or something, but
I think you're right. I see where you're coming from with that.
Especially the hull, at least. But anyway. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm next. Yeah, the next one I can't stand. The poison dagger is exactly what I don't like in ships. It's as boring as ships get. This is a Pirate 3-master, 10 points, 3 cargo, L move. All 3 cannons are 3S, and this ship gets +1 to her boarding rolls, which I think from Captain Mike's set is one of the most common abilities in the game. This is the definition of boring, to me, at least in this game. Everything is exactly average and mediocre and boring, so that's I just don't even want to talk about it anymore. So I really, it's pretty much my least favorite type of ship. I actually like ships that are worse. Like Woden is worse, but it's much more interesting, so I like it better.
Yeah.
Well, this would be a good ability for a ship like the Woden to have, because of that gold capture ability on the Woden.
Yeah, well, it has a longship, but it's still not very good.
Yeah, Poison Dagger's problem is that it's just so average in every way, and
there's probably like 3 other pirate ships just like it that are better.
Yeah. And one of the other problems with super average ships is that they have to be a really good deal, otherwise they're going to be totally forgotten. And, I mean, if it were 7 or 8 points, it might almost be of note, but it shares a point cost with ships like Panda and HMS Nautilus.
Yeah,
and the Darkhawk, too.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I think we can say that we've said all that can be said about Poison Dagger. So let's move on to Devil's Kiss, which I can't actually figure out a funny way to segue into for. I apologize. But Devil's Kiss is a 10.3 master. The guns are 4S, 3L, 3L. Although this time they've managed to put the masts in the right spot on the ship.
At least they're not backwards.
Yeah, guns are 4S, 3L, 3L, cargo space is 3, and base move is L, and it ignores terrain. I guess they're trying to make this a simple gold runner, but it's not fast enough. It doesn't have a big hull. It's not cheap.
Yeah.
They give up.
Yeah, it's pretty boring. Yeah, it's okay.
More boring.
Yeah.
More boring stuff.
It's less interesting than its name would imply.
Yeah. The one interesting thing about it is on the port side of the, jib sail, the foremast is, I think there's an extra 3L, I believe, cannon rank. So it's confusing because there's 2 cannon ranks on one side of the other side of the mast that you can't see from the picture. So it's weird, but it's a misprint. I think it's a misprint for all of them, pretty sure. So, but it's kind of sad it's kind of sad that that's the most interesting thing about the ship.
Isn't it like
fun fact about the ship? It was misprinted. That's all that we can say.
Yeah. Wasn't one of the 3-masted longships misprinted with a cursed flag?
I think the Icebreaker.
Fronting or the Polaris?
Yeah, no, it was.
Yeah,
I think it was one of the Icebreakers.
Huh.
It's like mistakenly listed as a cursed ship in the database at one point, I think.
Yeah, Polaris is the card has a cursed flag, but the ship is Viking, so it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah, sort of like how Obsidian Sun was mistakenly labeled as an English ship in here, because the card had it printed, but the ship itself had a mercenary flag, and the flavor text made no mention of England, and there was no HMS on the card.
So bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these 2 sets, Mysterious Islands and Frozen North, seem to be rampant with misprints and or mix-ups and confusions.
Yeah, and
mess.
And the overall low quality and high number of misprints. These were kind of from the dual drums and the Dark Era.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
Before the Renaissance, if you want to call it, of Ocean's Edge.
Yeah.
Until everybody realized it was ludicrously overprinted and they wanted to get rid of it.
And also happens to be ludicrously average as well.
Yeah, a lot of
2 or 3 standouts.
It had a lot of lame stuff, but also had some really good stuff. But we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, not very balanced, actually.
Next set review.
Yep.
All right, so moving on. The Plague of the North. A 2-masted blockade runner style ship. 8 points, 3 cargo spaces, S+S space move, 3L, 3L, and +1 to cannon rolls against Viking ships. Yeah, I like the fact that it's 8 points and moves S+S. That's pretty good.
Oh boy, do I have a ship for you.
Oh god.
Basic little gunship.
Reminded him.
Basic little gunship if you don't have the executioner.
Yeah, I think it's okay. Pretty much everything except for the ability is decent, but not great. But then the ability is just, it doesn't matter. So
yeah, because who's gonna play Vikings often?
Yeah, or pure Vikings.
Not many. Yeah, not many people.
Yeah. All right. Oh, well.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything more to say about that.
Yep.
Yeah, moving on.
The next one,
stuff, kind of.
Yeah, the next one is worse in my opinion. The Full Moon is another Pirate 2-master, square rigged this time. 9 points, 2 cargo, L move. Both cannons are 2S, and then it gets +1 to boarding rolls and +2 instead if her opponent is a sea monster. I mean, other than the cannon accuracy, this one is about as boring as it gets as well. So cannons are good, but nothing else really.
The ability is just totally unfitting. Not fast, not equipped with a big cargo space.
Yep.
It's just poorly put together.
Yeah, the pirates are mooning us with this one.
Yeah. I gotta get on my fun game or something.
They're mooning us.
It's like, suckers.
Yeah, what I want to do with Full Moon is I want to take like a really big stack of them in a box and just throw it on the floor and make a big thud sound. Speaking of which, the next ship on the list is named Thrud, which sounds like something you don't want to call someone. But funny enough, this is one of the few longships that does not belong to the Vikings. This one's 15 points. It's 2 masts, both of which are 3S. It has 2 cargo space and SS move. It has the home island raider ability, but it's 2 treasures instead of 1. So, which...
exciting but underwhelming at the same time.
Yeah, it's cool that, okay, the pirates get themselves a longship, but the ability is totally useless because this only has 2 cargo.
Yeah, so either send it out empty or waste the ability and do a Captain Helmsman for basic gunship, which is a waste because of all the
flavor text is interesting here, though. The Thrud was once an honest merchant ship until her crew decided that robbing unsuspecting towns was more lucrative.
Yep.
Since when is a longship a merchant ship? Like, what the heck?
I guess the
merchant ship, I think something like, the Hoya del Sol. That's a merchant ship.
Yeah.
This is, not. I mean, even by ship designs, like, there's not a lot of space.
Maybe they were traveling salesmen?
Okay, merchant, like, in quotation marks, and you're like, we are going to sell your stolen goods.
Yeah.
Or something.
Maybe they went from an honest merchant ship to a dishonest merchant ship.
I don't know. Alright, shall we move on?
Yep.
We shall.
Alright, Ahura Mazda. 1 master, 5 points, 1 cargo space, base move, 4S for the cannon, and one of the ship's treasures is worth +2 gold when unloaded at your home island. This is one of the few times I will say that a gold bonus ship is not worth using.
Yeah.
It's not fast enough to go and get gold. There's not enough cargo to go and get gold. I mean, the only thing I can think of is, like, for people who, like, purposely build bad fleets.
Like me?
No,
wait, no, I don't do that on purpose.
Yeah. Some people on the site have, like, purposely done that, like, with, like, a large group. They purposely build bad fleets, and then they give it to the person, like, to the left of them or something. So, like, this will, like, be, like, one of those ships you include in that. Or if you're a collector and you don't want to ever punch ships out, then this is something to get. But gameplay-wise, this is not very good.
Yeah.
I do have one use for it in mind, although it's probably not all that great an idea anyway. Leave it docked to your home island empty, and then just bring a hoist over. And they just unload 1 at a time, and you get a +2 bonus on every gold.
Yeah.
The only problem with that is that you'd be taking a hoist out of action for multiple turns.
Yeah.
Well, that depends on the hoist. If you have like a bare bones frontier, you could like completely drain an island and then just spend like.
Frontier's a really good ship, though, that I'm inclined to crew up.
Yeah.
I think Frontier's an amazing ship, and I would not want Frontier just sitting around.
Yeah. The only other problem with that, it's like the gold factory strategy. You have to redock at the home island, so it's best to use this with a ship that has 2 move segments. Xerix and I have a ton of experience with that from tournament number 2. It's a core part of the UPS Universal Pirate Shipping strategy pioneered by Darren. So it's better to use like Genny Gallows on a ship with at least SS speed, or Maurice Aristide on like the Coeur du Lion, for example, and stuff like that. The Ahura Mazda, I don't know, she's just not good enough. And the cargo is so tiny that you can't put any crew on it, basically. So you'd have to send her out empty to an island at just L, and then come back at L with 1 coin. So
you could do Gentleman Jocard and a helmsman.
Oh no, I'm not doing that.
That's still not worth it.
10 points?
Nearly,
What do you mean it's not worth 10 points?
Worth it, really.
No, not even
10 points you could get Micron.
Yeah.
To make any fleet better.
Yeah, you could.
Or for 5 points you can get Banshee's Cry and Mermaid uncrewed. So,
Yeah. 2 Elpasol moving ships.
Or even better, for 17 points you can get La Loup Garou.
Yeah. And then, this ship only has a 4S cannon, so she's not much of a gunner. But that's the next person in the set. I know, I'm trying to get in my pun game. But Gunner is a generic SAT crew, so roll a d6, 5 or 6, you get the same action twice. For 3 points for the Pirates. It is a clone. They already had Calico Cat from Spanish Main and Le Requin from Crimson Coast. So the Pirates have kind of an embarrassment of riches, as they say, in terms of extra action crew. And this is just another example. This is probably the least well known, especially from, Frozen North is a little bit rare as a set, kind of. But, I mean, any faction will always take more of these, so it just gives them even more of an advantage in larger games. So, great ability.
And he links to the Plague of the North, which is interesting a little bit, but not very.
Not really.
Only a little bit.
I gotta check out
I don't have time to figure out a funny way to announce Vlad the Iceblood as the next crew, but he is.
As opposed to Vlad the Impaler, he's Vlad the Iceblood.
Yeah.
Oh, Vlad's
although I think no, I don't have anything funny to say about that either. Anyway, Vlad the Iceblood is 4 points. He ignores terrain and he's escorting, so he's basically Ethan the Farseeker without a link to everything.
Yeah.
This is not. I mean, I like to think that this is a good ability, but I'm not sure how many ships can really use this. You'd want something as cheap as possible with a small cargo space and a really high base move.
Yep.
He links to the Stoneheart.
Wait, does he?
Yeah, the Stoneheart has it because his database text cuts off.
Only the Stoneheart is bad. It's terrible.
It's a waste of 4 points on a 13-point ship.
Yeah. It's a waste of 4 points on a waste of 13 points.
Yeah.
Oh
well.
And we already had that base covered with La Loup Garou.
Yeah, and we've already covered more or less what you can do with him.
Yeah.
When we talked about Ethan.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
No need for two of them in the same set.
I guess we could say that link is a piece of Shetland.
Yeah. I don't know why the designers named this ship the way they did. Unless it's a real place in Britain somewhere.
It's gotta be, because there's the Shetland ponies. We're talking about the HMS Shetland, by the way.
Yeah, HMS, the first English ship in the set here. We got 5 masts, 16 points. Base move S, so that's not particularly brilliant. And the rest of it isn't particularly brilliant either. Cannons of 2S, 3S, 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 4S. So they get continually worse the further back you go. And once per turn, if this ship is touching another ship, she can randomly take as much treasure from the other ship as she can carry. That's a good ability to have with lots of cargo, but that's not a good that's not a good ability to have when you're like as slow as a snail. I mean, there's no way this is going to catch another ship that has any gold worth taking.
Yep.
So, and the fact that, you know, the English are like renowned for like, we have Uber gunships to like go and kill everyone with. This is one of their few 5-masted ships that you can't really turn into a gunship easily.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not.
Because the cannons are mediocre to bad in some places.
Yeah.
I suppose you could use the 4S to like shoot a smoke pot, since you don't have to roll to die.
Yeah.
For that, but
I think the sails are kind of interesting. They have like a fade out green-white pattern. It's kind of interesting.
Okay, yeah, the artwork is interesting looking, but
yeah, kind of. It says
the rest of it is kind of bleh.
Yeah, Shetland, also called the Shetland Islands, is a subarctic archipelago that lies northeast of the island of Great Britain and forms part of Scotland in the United Kingdom. So there's that.
Alright, so that's why they called it this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I could not imagine the designers purposely naming a ship like this.
Yeah.
Unless it was like from an actual place.
Yeah, I think if the speed was SS, I think it would be playable, but it's only half that, so it's not very good.
Yeah.
One of the worst English 5-masters, because usually they're extremely good.
Right up there with the 5er from Mysterious Islands, the Pacificum.
Yeah, that one's a little better, but either of them are great. So.
Part of me wants to say put a helmsman aboard and then try to work Griffin, but then you have the problem of if you put a captain on
lipstick on a turd if you're going.
I know I am, but you know I'm trying to redeem it somehow. If you manage to get Griffin and the captain aboard, like some kind of captain that linked somehow, so you didn't take up a space, then you could
like Thomas Gunn, maybe you get captain and helmsman in one spot, and then toss on Griffin.
Yeah, captain, helmsman, and Griffin, and then you can at least move 3S. But even then,
I'd rather put that combo on, like, you know, the HMS Gargantuan maybe would be a better spot for that. Yeah, heck, you could put that combo on the Temple and make it completely overkill, but
for 1 point less. Speaking of point less, the HMS Shetland is 1 point more than HMS Lord Algernon, I think.
Yeah.
Which has largely similar base stats. I think the same cargo space, same base move, but worse ability, worse guns.
Yeah. I would argue the Algernon is a better ship than this in almost every single way.
Yeah.
No,
the cargo
speed is
no, we can agree on that. The cargo is lower, but it's a way better gunship. So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And 5-masted ships, with few exceptions, should never be used to go and get gold. 5-masted ships are your capital pinnacle gunships.
Yeah, usually.
And this is not that.
Yeah. The next one is HMS Orkney. Take a quick break out of this. This is an English 4-master. It's 12 points, only 2 cargo, but she makes up for it with her guns and ability. L move. Cannons are 3S, 2L, 2L, 3S, and then the ship ignores the first hit. She takes each turn as long as she has all of her masts. Kind of like the contrast of the artwork too, she's got a dark hull, but then like the cannons and gun ports are kind of a light color, and then white sails, so kind of a cool contrast. This one's just a super basic, reasonably effective gunship. The Oxford and London are both definitely better, with double the cargo and better speed, but this one with Captain Helmsman, and I would probably put an oarsman maybe, is I'd say a slightly underrated gunship, if not a simple one.
Yeah.
We were just talking about Lord Algernon. You could consider this kin of it because it has the same ability, but it's smaller and cheaper. This is a pretty dang good option as far as 4-masted gunships go.
Yeah, 4-masted gunships on a budget.
Yeah.
Although, if I was going for a 4-masted gunship on a budget, I would still probably take the HMS Oxford.
Yeah, you're right.
SPSL base move, I think 4 cargo spaces. All rank 2 cannons.
Yeah. Yeah, the Orkney doesn't deserve to be as forgotten as she is, but you would probably go with the Oxford.
Yeah.
To be honest.
In a large campaign, this is like a second-tier backup gunship, or the second-rate gunship, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting and good enough that I have to kind of like write a note to myself to remind myself to look into how to use it.
I think you should do that for the next one.
I should, because I'm trying to figure out a way. Give me a second. Because its stats look utterly royal. Okay, that was bad. HMS Royal is a 13.4 master with 3S, 2L, 2L, 3S guns, 3 cargo space, L move, and then World Hater. It's pretty good, but the name is really generic for an English ship, and the stats aren't really that special. You know what this is? This is La Resolution from Ocean's Edge, but English.
Yeah, and with slightly less accurate bow and stern cannons.
Wait, you're right, I think.
Because La Resolution has rank 2 across the board.
Yeah, you're right. That's interesting, yeah. I never realized how similar this was, but unfortunately...
Yeah. Well, that depends upon if you want to say that the English crew options versus Spanish crew options. Within 13 points, I think the Spanish could potentially make 4 or 5 crew fit onto the Resolution, whereas the English, I don't think, could do that.
I think you could argue both ways. They both have some really interesting, unique crew. This ship, for example, you could go the Griffin route and make it really fast.
Yeah, but you're taking up almost half the ship's point cost with that one crew.
I know, but you'd also be able to catch up with with La Resolucion's guns there. But the Spanish have the option of using a crew like Joaquin Vega.
Yeah, and also I think the Spanish have a few of those +1 cargo spaces. Doesn't take up any cargo space crew.
Yeah, they have.
The English, I think, have one of those guys as well, but Spanish are more famous for that. Plus, the Spanish have the only 2-point captain in the entire game. So.
Yes, they do. They do.
If you're sticking strictly to generic options, like just generic crew options, then I'd say the Resolution edges out the Royal barely.
Probably.
Because it's got more accurate cannons.
Yeah.
But they're very comparable.
Yeah. And
to
build off what you said about Spain having the only 2-point captain, these are, despite how good they are, kind of still like a budget option for a gunship. And if you're going to be choosing budget options, why not go with a faction that has the cheaper captain and the better base guns to start with?
Yep.
Yeah. As I recall, because I've read of quite a few of them, Cadet Captain Mike's play group, they really liked this ship, or like 1 or 2 of them had it, and everyone freaked out whenever it got used, but always underperformed. Then again, Cadet Captain Mike's play group at the time was him and a bunch of other kids, so go figure. Take it or leave it.
Yeah. Oh boy.
All right, so I have the next one up.
I'm sorry.
HMS Hastings. Once again, whoever built this for the gallery shot put the masts in the wrong place.
Even worse than before, too, because they're all overlapping on the wrong way.
So you're putting undue stress on the masts, which eventually, over time, will build up, and the masts become more fragile and brittle, and it was onto the actual ship.
They've already lost the flag.
There's no flag, and
there isn't a flag on the back of it. Oh, for Pete's sake. Oh, there's no flag on the Royal,
Somebody reshoot this one, please.
There's no flag on the HMS Royal either on the back there. I just noticed. Oh, for Pete's sake. Anyways, on to the actual ship. 12 points for cargo, base move L, cannons of 4S, 3L, 3L, 3S. Okay, it's kind of like the reverse of the which has the 4S on the back. If this ship has a captain crew, she gets +1 to her cannon rolls. Not a bad ability. Average cannons, except for that one in the front. Decent cargo space, reasonably cheap. Kind of strikes me as like a subpar budget gunship. Like if you've got a small collection and you have this, you're probably going to wind up using this quite a bit. And just put like a captain and helmsman on board, and you get +1 to your cannon rolls. But for 12 points, it's sharing territory with the Orkney, which is comparably a much better gunship.
Yeah.
Although you could potentially make the Hastings run gold, because it has more cargo space. You just put on a helmsman and go sailing off at El Posses. But also, within 12 points, you've got the aforementioned HMS Oxford, which is
way better
in almost every way.
Yep.
In literally every way, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, the ability is worse.
I would argue the ability makes this one a case.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yep. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I would just do captain and helmsman and then try to keep the other two spaces open for the option of getting gold. I wouldn't make it a priority. I see it mostly as just kind of an average gunship, nothing too special. I would also house rule it to have the schooner keyword. I don't know if that's a gallery mistake or not, but
anyway, I would just leave it in its card.
Yeah, no, that's fair too. Yeah, we play huge games, so it'll get used eventually, but it's kind of like a stock gunship.
Not before the next chip, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Which I think is yours.
Oh, sorry.
I think so.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, HMS Durham. Not as good as the first Durham from Barbary Coast, but this one is decent. 11 points for cargo, SS move. All 3 cannons are 3L, and then it's got reroll built in, so it's a decent spot for either of the 2 English AA Admiral's Action Crew, who are Cargo Owen and Lord Cutler Beckett from Caribbean. Everything is, decent. Nothing stands out hugely. It's just pretty solid all around. I guess I would use it similar to the Hastings, probably Captain Helmsman, keep a few spaces open for gold, and in a larger game, I might use it. I think I did in CG1. I think Owen was on this ship with Admiral's Action with reroll to try to get 6s. So that's how I'd use it.
Oh, I think Xerex dropped out there for a second.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. Seeing something from him, he's saying he got cut out. Are we able to... It says he lost connection. Do we have any way to bring him back in?
Yeah, we should be able to.
Here he is.
Okay, here I am.
There we go.
No idea what just happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just had lost connection.
Weird.
Okay, that was weird.
But we're still on HMS Durham. You haven't missed much.
Oh, goody. Durham.
Yep.
Reroll. It's the HMS Pride, but for 1 point more.
Yeah. I mean, HMS Durham overall is not too bad. She's solid in kind of every respect. Nothing too far out there. But within the set, I think she's one of the better ships.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, it's a solid ship overall, yeah.
Oh, no, flavor text has the first mention of Griffin, I think.
Oh,
Captain Griffin's crack crew of gunners have won battles in which they were vastly outnumbered and outgunned.
Wow.
Good
that's
for
like
them.
That's a vague mention, for flavor. Have to be in that wiki someday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of the Durham, it's the on the duplicates list, you've got the HMS Durham from Barbary Coast.
Yeah.
Which is a 4-masted schooner.
Which is really funny, considering another ship that's coming up, which also had a contemporary in Barbary Coast, HMS Granville.
Yeah.
But
we'll skipped over the Duke of York.
Well, no. I'm saying coming up.
Okay, we're going there.
Not yet. But speaking of the Duke of York, I'm about to take a Duke all over the Duke of York. Because... take a Duke. Because HMS Duke of York is one of those not quite there ships. She's 13 points, and for that you get 3 masts, which are all 2L, 3 cargo space, and L move. So already you're in a position where she'd better be a really solid gunship if you're going to justify her over the existing 3-masted gunship competition, even 3-masted hybrids. You've got stuff like Grinder, or even within the English, you've got the Nautilus. Yeah. Unfortunately, she's got broadsides attack, which is at its best on ships that have solid 2S guns and nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah, the Duke of York is okay. Like you said, the competition is better. I like the blue hull and the white sails, and I love 2L guns, of course, so I kind of have a soft spot. It's got a strong name, not a good ability, but like strong ability and then strong gun. So it's kind of a brute force gunship that's kind of continues in the English tradition. So I kind of have a soft spot for it, but it's not.
Yeah. And at least it's broadsides attack on a ship that's got rank 2 cannons.
Yeah.
As opposed to broadsides attack on a ship that's got like 4 rank cannons.
Argonauta. Yeah.
Also, I believe someone mentioned it somewhere on the forum that broadsides attack is better on smaller ships because you get more bang for the buck, supposedly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So on a 3-masted ship, if you hit that broadsides attack, you do 4 cannons worth of damage, which is
decent.
Not bad, but at L move, you're gonna need some help getting into position to use them cannons.
Yeah. Yeah, broadsides is probably at its very best on 1 or 2 master, probably 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, like those blockade runner type ships.
Yeah. Prince of Chichester, for example. Yeah.
Oh yes. Yeah, that's a brilliant ship, and we can't spend the 20 minutes that I'd like to spend talking about it.
we did the set review for that, so it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can go on to the next one.
Which is
Am I up for the Granville?
Yep.
You are.
Oh, cool. All right, HMS Granville, 13 points, 2 cargo spaces, base move of L, cannons of 3S, 2S, 3S, Icebreaker. On the turn the ship is pinned, eliminate 1 crew and 1 mast from the enemy ship. Link, Sir Jeremy Rothschild. Okay, we'll get to him eventually. Okay, I like that the English, or I think everyone except the pirates or something got an Icebreaker or one of the set-specific ships. But this is kind of meh, in my opinion. Abilities like that, in my opinion, should be on ships that are decently quick to begin with before you add a helmsman, and the Granville is not decently quick.
Yeah.
Add in the fact that there's only 2 cargo spaces, and this really is only suitable as a mediocre gunship.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's one of the most, offensively oriented icebreakers.
And I imagine ramming a wood ship with an ice-breaking ram thing on the front, that would do a lot of damage, so thematically, I guess the ability fits.
Yeah. Yeah, I would do Captain Helmsman, and then you've got reasonable cannons, and then do some extra damage. So, as icebreakers go, it's still average, but at least it's reasonably powerful compared to the other icebreakers.
I just took a quick look at Jeremy Rothschild, and I'll say more about that when we get down to him.
Yeah, it's not everything.
That's interesting, actually, now that I took a look at him.
Yeah. Granville did top my ranking of icebreakers, but when we look at it, Granville really is nothing special.
Yeah.
Which really says a lot about the quality of icebreakers in general. Yeah. And I always thought, small nitpick, that it was strange how there was a deck on the back of icebreakers where there was no mast.
Yeah, it's a little odd.
Yeah.
Were they supposed to be 4 masts, but someone forgot to put the final thing in?
That would make a lot of sense. Like if this had 3S, 2S, 2S, 3S, then this would be kind of closer to being there.
Yeah, I don't think so, because the mizzen mast is, it's like the gap type mast, so it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah, but imagine if that one was supposed to go on that back deck there.
Yeah.
And you had a 4th mast, where that
sort of
back gaffer goes thing. So if all icebreakers were 4 masts as opposed to 3, would they be better or worse?
Yeah, probably
They'd be better.
More durable. Yeah.
All right then.
I mean, because they're all kind of just mediocre, but we'll talk about the rest of them as they come.
Yeah. Next one is HMS Yardbird, which is kind of a weird name. Led Zeppelin's my second favorite band, and they originated from the Yardbirds, a British band. But this one's a 2-master, 8 points, 4 cargo, L move. Cannons are 4S, 4L, and this ship may unload cargo at your home island if she's within S of it. So kind of a rare ability, similar to Dory's on the 10 masters. This one I've just used as a basic gold ship with a helmsman. You've got 10 points, LS speed, 3 cargo, and then you can unload cargo early. So you save a little bit of time on the way back, and then you get out a little bit faster. So she served me decently in Vassal Campaign Game 2, where I was the English. Other than that, I haven't used her too much, but I mean, for the English, she's a decent gold runner. Just kind of, just a decent one to consider. But
yeah, I think in all my campaigns that I've played, the English have used this at some point or other.
Yeah.
I think her most memorable use was during that winter economy game, where the English used her to drop things off with an S. Right, sail with an L, use the ability, and then use the remaining S to turn around and sort of head back out.
Yeah, it's a decent budget option for the English to run gold. Although, obviously, I'm going to say there are a lot of better ships for this point cost. I'm not going to say what you expect me to say. I looked up the definition of yardbird because I was curious, and it's either a new military recruit that you give all the crappy jobs, or a convict.
Oh, that might explain the flavor text.
Yeah.
Yes,
HMS Yardbird is crewed by former American Confederates who fled to England rather than rejoin the Union.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Where do you think they ended up when they fled to England? Kirkwall, maybe?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Seems like it.
Yeah. Well, that's coincidental because the next ship on the list is HMS Kirkwall, which is another two-masted blockade runner. This one's also the last one wasn't. So this is a two-masted blockade runner, and for that for 8 points you get a 3S and a 4S gun, SL move, 2 cargo space, and then S explore.
It's like a scout ship.
Yeah.
It's not a bad
for any game.
It's not a bad option for one. It does have a pretty good base move.
Yeah, at least it's quick.
It's a little expensive, I think. It's probably 6 or 7 points worth.
Yeah, I think so too.
Well,
this is one of the ships with the S Explorer. This is actually one of the most fitting because you don't need a lot of cargo, but you do need speed and a reasonable cost. It's kind of the perfect scout ship. It's just the scouting it just doesn't work that well. So, and the English did use it in
40-point games, it doesn't work very well.
And they got out to the islands, but it didn't really help that much, and they were eliminated. One of the first factions eliminated in that game, so I don't know. It works, it's fitting, but the ability just doesn't pan out in the long haul. So even in big games where you'd think it would be more useful. So
And you can't use Griffin to make it ultra fast because it's just not expensive enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's only really worth using on capital ships that need help.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or in niche situations like on HMS Gibraltar.
Yeah.
Although in that situation, it kind of is a capital ship based on whatever.
In a way. All right.
Yeah.
All right. HMS Tweed.
Mrs. Tweedy.
Tweety Bird.
Yeah.
Or some guy's old tweed jacket.
Exactly.
All right. 10 points. One-masted ship. 2 cargo spaces. S+S. A nice little 2L cannon. And L-range cannons cannot hit this ship, which is a pretty nice little defensive ability for a smaller ship. And otherwise, kind of eh.
Yeah, it doesn't have a big enough cargo hold to run gold, so it's not a good ship at all for me, really.
Yeah,
captain and helmsman and be done with it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even bother using this ship because, as we know, I mean, it's expensive, and it has an ability that won't save it.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of these. God, me through the set reviews. Kind of these types of ships, quite frankly.
Yeah.
They're
one masters that have a decent cannon defense, but one mast, you're ram bait.
Yeah, you're going to ram it. You're not going to shoot it.
Yeah, I was surprised. It's kind of pretty. The picture doesn't quite do it justice. The hull is pretty unique. It's got an interesting greenish pattern, so it's kind of a colorful ship.
Looks like tweed.
All right. The next one is First English Crew. Well, only a couple, but Peter Miles, English Crew, is 6 points, and a really unique ability to see on a crew. I want to say, like Grim the Savage, I think it's the only time it was on a crew. Once per turn, if the ship is touching another ship, she can randomly take as much treasure from the other ship as she can carry. Not a very fitting ability for the English. I could see the pirates or French getting this. So the English getting it is kind of funky, but
Yeah, besides, I don't have a whole lot of vastly cavernous ships for him to use his ability on.
Yeah, I would say I would use this on maybe a schooner, so you wouldn't have to ram. The Prince of Chichester is one that I've put him on in terms of combos. Yeah. I don't think I tried that out yet, but that ship can't be shot at within S, and it's got 5 cargo, so you could do like Thomas Gunn, captain with helmsman, and then this guy, oarsman doesn't pick up space, blah, blah, blah. HMS Swallow, maybe. I guess there's not a lot of great English hybrids, but HMS Oxford with Thomas Gunn, maybe. But yeah, he's kind of interesting. He would be, I think, more fitting in a different faction, but he's still a unique crew to consider, just kind of for the hell of it, just to see like what you can do with him. Try to figure out good combos with him. Maybe the Maui's fish hook, I don't know.
Yeah, hoist.
For me, the problem with Peter Miles is that he's the same cost as Grim the Savage. And while Grim the Savage is part of a worse faction, so you have to kind of do some more finagling to get him onto a decent ship, Peter Miles has a better selection of ships you can put him on, but his ability, I think, isn't as good. Yeah. And my reasoning for that is that Grim the Savage is a home island raider. Home islands don't move. And they're a place that people are constantly bringing gold to.
And they don't board back if you have
exactly.
Peter Miles.
Yeah, and they don't typically shoot back. And Peter Miles, you're always going to be chasing after ships. And, okay, you take, say, HMS Lady Provost.
Oh, yeah.
That would be a pretty good one to put him on, maybe.
Yeah.
You'd think, but my real problem with that is you put him on Lady Provost with a helmsman. Okay, you're moving SSL and you can empty a gold runner's hold. Why don't you instead just put an explorer on instead of Peter Miles and just beat the gold runner to the island if you're fast enough to catch it anyway?
Yeah.
Because you go second. Someone went ahead of you.
Maybe.
I mean, well, if they're ahead of you, then are you going to be able to catch them?
Hidden Cove.
Oh, God.
Well, yeah, if you have to use a broken event to excuse a crew, then,
yeah. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Sound like
yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's like I really do want to like this ability, but strategically, if you're in a position to use it, you've already kind of made a mistake, haven't you?
In a way, yeah.
Depends.
I would use him to like kind of just to say I did, because he's like a one-of-a-kind crew, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to kind of do it in a casual
It's a powerful ability that you should never have to use.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll just jump onto Sir Jeremy Rothschild if you guys have nothing more to say.
Yeah, and not about Peter, but I got some interesting insight on Jeremy here.
Oh, I bet you do. He's linked to HMS Granville, like we were talking about earlier. He's 4 points. And then this is one of those crew where when you touch another ship carrying unique treasure, you can take all of it, which is really cool, but also really niche. So I'm going to let you talk, Billy.
All right. Since UTs, with few exceptions, don't take up cargo space, and you put him on the Granville, well, the Granville doesn't have a whole lot of cargo, so you could essentially get some of those really powerful UTs while you when you're hurting those other ships when you use the Granville to ram into them. But UTs that otherwise couldn't be removed from a ship. I think Nemo's Plans is one of them. This is a way to get those onto your ship. Some of those other ones. See, I'm having trouble remembering. I think if you win a board, you can choose to take a regular treasure, but you can't take a unique treasure, unless it says so or something. So I think this was the first time you'd seen an ability like this.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I think so.
Because Rolando, it's the same set.
Well, Rolando's later on in the upcoming Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think Maman Brigitte has this ability, but Maman Brigitte is an Ocean's Edge and is terrible.
Yeah. Well, the other thing, though, about him is the first part, reveal all face-down treasure.
Yep.
So you get a free look at whatever is on someone's loaded gold runner if you can catch up to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you pair him with his linked ship, the Granville, on the turn the ship is pinned, so that means you've rammed into another ship. You eliminate a crew and a mast, so there's the damage done. But now because you're pinned, you're touching it. So the once per turn effect kicks in, and since UTs don't take up space, they're perfectly suited to just go aboard the Granville and potentially turn it into a mediocre ship and turn it into a potential god ship, depending on the UTs that you can steal.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's a decent combo. I probably wouldn't bother with the link.
Niche.
I would probably, instead of just doing the Granville, I would just put Rothschild on maybe HMS Swallow because it has good speed and more durability to keep the UTs safe and to take more advantage of them. I will say Wolf likes this a lot. I think it's only worth 2 or 3 points. I still don't think it's that great. He does have a review of Rolando that's pretty eye-opening. And yeah, revealing all the face-down treasure aboard the other ship, that's something that often gets forgotten. So it's kind of it's a neat little thing that makes the ability a bit better. I still think it's too pricey to use. I haven't really used it effectively yet, but it's kind of a cool novelty thing, I guess. So.
Yeah. Well, the other thing you do is put him on a ship that can't be pinned to steal a treasure from a ship docked at its home island.
Okay, that makes sense. Yep, true.
So something like Jade, maybe get your hands on that. Use him to take the Jade UT or something else. Think about the hardest stone from not that. No one wants that.
There goes Rothschild.
It's like, there goes Sir Jeremy. I think he shows up again in Savage Shores with a slightly different ability.
Yeah,
he shows up with a different hat too.
He's got like a fur. Looks like he's got some kind of fur parka on right now. His artwork there.
All right.
So I will admit, it's a niche ability, but could see more expanded on it. I think the fact that he's English holds him back from seeing.
Probably.
Because the English don't have a whole lot of treasure-oriented ships in the first place.
Or boarding-oriented ships.
Yeah. And the ones that they do are often expensive and or not particularly quick. Unlike the Spanish.
Yeah, speaking of the Spanish.
All right, so here we go to the La Tortesos.
BenQ. Wait, never mind. That is you.
Yeah.
So we got 5 masts. Yay, big ship. 3 cargo spaces. Base move L. 3S, 3L, 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 and 3S. And the ability, pulse 1 cannon rolls against any non-Spanish ship. This is a pretty good gunship for the Spanish, especially in terms of 5 masters.
Yeah.
They don't have a whole lot of ships that have this ability on it. I think the La Resolucion has this ability, and the El Montecristo has this ability, and the Tortesos has this. After that, I don't think it appears on any Spanish ship. They've got the world-hitting ability on, I think it's one of the special edition crew from Barbary Coast, one of the cardboard guys, has the world-hitting on it. But this is 14 points. This is a really nice, low-cost 5-masted gunship. The cargo space is kind of, but it forces you to be a wee bit creative about how you put crew on here. I think I mentioned him earlier. You've got 2-point Zuon you could put on to save cargo. You've got cargo boosting crew. I think Dominic Freda, the regular version of him, you could put him on here to boost cargo. You could put the Spanish main version of Master Bianco. You could use his SS version, the Cargo Master, on another ship to get another cargo space. There's just a lot of options for Spain, and this is one of their better 5-masted ships out there. In terms of their 5-masted ships, I think the pecking order is the Spanish Main Cruzado, then the Cristobal, and then this, maybe, in terms of 5-masted Spanish ships that are pretty good.
Yeah, I don't think I can think of any Spanish 5 masters that do this ship's job better than it at a similar point cost. Because it's only about 2/3, it's less than 2/3 the cost of El Acorazado, making it much more usable in a small game.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think...
has the same ability, but is more durable.
Yeah, I don't think that having not all that much cargo counts against it much, because its point is just get 5 rank 2 guns as cheap as possible, and it succeeds at that.
Yeah.
And by that merit alone, I think it's worthy of quite a lot of respect.
Yeah. It's a pretty powerful ship. I would do Captain Helmsman, and then maybe Oarsman and or Firepot Specialist. Keep it kind of basic like the ship is in general. So, yeah. The next one is La Ebro. This one's a Spanish 4-master, 14 points, 3 cargo, L move. Cannons are 2S, 3L, 3L, 2S. And then it has broadsides attack built in, which is okay, not great. I would rather have the Tartessos, but the Ebro is a decent gunship. They're kind of similar, I guess. It's pretty much, same cost, cargo, and move, but Tartessos is slightly better than the Ebro. So.
And has a much better ability.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for the broadsides to work on the Ebro, you'd have to roll a 4 or higher. Because the rank 3 guns in the middle.
And even then, you're only doing as much as hitting every shot on Tartessos would.
Yeah.
So La Ebro is like a less durable, more high-risk version.
Yeah. That 50-50 roll for the broadsides attack, usually not worth it unless the ship has all rank 2 cannons. That's the way I'm...
No good.
Yeah, both of them are pretty basic gunships overall, I would say.
I think El Rosal is next, if you want to start that, Ben.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one, it's 16 points for a 4-masted schooner, 3 cargo, SL speed, all 4 cannons are 3Ls, and then after the ship resolves a shoot action, she move as a free, so reverse captain. So the usual smoke pot specialist combo for defense is viable. I think it's a pretty good flotilla tug, actually, too. The Spanish have a couple of good ones of those. I've hooked those up to El Rosal because it's kind of somewhat rare in that it has 4 or more masts, but it's also SL speed, which is pretty cool. I think this one is actually kind of an underrated Spanish gunship option. The Resolution is better for pure firepower, but this one's a very good first strike ship. And if you sacrifice the helmsman and speed, you could do a flotilla and then have 8 shots moving around at SL, which is a pretty good combo overall. So I like this one a lot, actually. It's a good gunship.
Yeah, fun trivia thing. SL is the fastest that any 4-masted ship moves in the game if you exclude Slay and Mistwalker.
Yeah.
But Mistwalker is a sea monster, so I don't really think you can consider it a ship.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a bit of an overpriced ability, but the armament's solid. The move is great for its size. It's a little bit expensive, so I think there are other things I'd use before El Rosal, especially among the Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you have any more to say about it, Billy?
I think he dropped down again. I don't see him in
Oh, did he?
So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll
and he mentioned having to potentially... Yeah, he dropped out.
Mm-hmm.
But he did mention having to get off of the Oscars before we started recording this, so I'm going to jump onto El Profeta next, which is 10 points, 3 masts, 3S, 3L, 3S guns, 4 cargo, L move, and then treasure trade. He said something about Welp. He might have disconnected again.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a fun little debacle. Yeah, Profeta's, I guess you could call it an okay treasure runner. If you find a way to boost the cargo, like you could do Dominic Freda and Helmsman, but this isn't all that great in ability, and the Spanish have better treasure runners around this price.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of boring to me. Kind of an average ship overall, not too great. It's not the most boring ship, not quite like Poison Dagger, but It's a little better, but still pretty mediocre, definitely. Bill, you back? Do Elma. I guess I'll do it. 3-mast. This is another Spanish 3-master. 4 cargo, L move. Cannons are 2S, 3S, 3S, and then it's got canceling, which is really great. Reminds me of El Paso from Barbary Coast in that it's got canceling built in, but other than that, it's relatively mediocre. But by virtue of being a canceller, it jumps up higher, much higher on my list than it would otherwise be. I would maybe put a firepot specialist for that 2S cannon at the bow. I like doing that, especially recently. Outside of the canceling, I mean, it's not great, but it's still a decent ship overall. I would probably just use it as a gunship because Canceller is going to be so effective on the battlefield. But you could do just Captain Helmsman and keep a couple cargo spaces open for coins if you wanted to. So this picture has like 3 pennant flags, so it's like the opposite of the other ones we saw. I don't know why.
And they're going the wrong way.
Yeah, usually, yeah, debatably.
Yeah, this is becoming a really strange trend. Whoever built the El Alma in the picture on Miniature Trading's database punched out all 3 of the little, they're not windsocks, streamers or whatever, and put one on each mast, and they're all pointing rearward.
Yeah.
It looks kind of cool, but I also know that it's entirely wrong.
Yeah, I like doing the pennants on, like, a flagship, like, literally a flagship. So, like, HMS Lord Algernon is generally my favorite ship, and she was the English flagship in Command of the Oceans, my campaign game last year. So and on a 5-master, it looks even better, because then it's a capital ship anyway, so it can look really good.
Yeah, and it's all decorated and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. It's really
good. As far as the ship itself goes, I think you're right. This is probably a really interesting alternative support gunship or hybrid. It's certainly going to be one that's nasty to fight. It's probably not all that good a hybrid, though, because it's not that fast. It's probably just best as a gunship.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, anyway, I've had enough about talking about that ship. And soon I will have had enough about talking about La Hada, which is Spain's icebreaker. And I think the worst icebreaker. And the reason for that is for 12 points, which makes it, I think, the cheapest icebreaker, you get 4S, 3S, 3S guns, 2 cargo space, L move, and ramming cannot eliminate the ship's masts. I don't actually see any purpose to this ship. It's not really a gunship. You can't run gold with it. You can't do support operations.
Yep.
It's kind of useless.
Yeah, I agree.
Which completely.
One now? La Hada.
Oh, the icebreaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only thing it's got going for it is breaking ice.
Yeah. Other than being the only Spanish icebreaker, there's nothing really exciting about it. So you can do the next one, Bill, though, if you want.
Right, yeah, my internet died on me like twice in a row or something.
Weird.
And Skype is internet service, so no internet, no Skype. Yeah. All right. Anyways, La Academia or Academia, whichever. 3-mast ship, 11 points, 4 cargo spaces, base move of L, 4L, 3L, 3L, and it may not be shot at while docked. All right, so that's a nice ability, and it's big enough to where you can't ram it to death instantly. Yeah, that's decent ability for the ship. I wish it was faster.
Yeah, Gold Runner. Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Yeah.
Or even
otherwise,
a hybrid,
nice little.
In a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe. Nice little gold running hybrid.
Yeah.
Thingy.
In CG1, I controlled the Spanish, and I used it as like a fort guard ship, because then I was guarding an important fort where I could launch ships from, I believe. And it can't be shot at while it docked, so it was like, it basically made the fort have 7 cannons in a way. Or you could use it as like a home island protector, but that's usually more of a niche usage for large teams. But it's an okay ship. The ability is a little bit wasted, because the move and the point cost aren't great, but oh well. It's not terrible, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can go on to the next one if you want.
Sure.
La Iberia is kind of interesting. I kind of have a soft spot for this one. It's 7 points, 2 masts, 4 cargo, S move. Both cannons are 2L, and then once per turn, this ship may look at 1 face down cargo on any ship, so a spying ability. I would do Captain Helmsman and have it be like a slow and mediocre hybrid of sorts, because the guns are really good, so you want a captain, but then the speed is only S, so it requires a helmsman, and then you'd have 2 spaces left over for gold out of the 4. Then you got spying, so it's kind of like a weird, slow, slightly underrated, like multi-purpose ship. She's going to get passed over, understandably, for La Monarca or a flotilla, which is totally fair. But I kind of like this ship. It's kind of cool, actually. The speed is the only really bad thing. Everything else is pretty good. So.
Yeah, if this was any faster, it would be maybe considered more often.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right about that. With L move, this would be kind of a cult favorite. I think that it's worth looking into Spain's crew options to see if there are any cheap abilities that would pair well with this. Stuff like that of Devereaux, but not exactly. We'd have to scroll through and see if there's anything worth using, but there may yet be more to this ship.
Yeah. Huh.
I think you could, if you want, do Rise of the Fiends Dominic Freda and a helmsman, but that's not a particularly efficient way of getting yourself a gunship.
Yeah.
So, or not gunship, Gold Runner. Yeah.
You could go Louis Suon to get the cheaper captain, save points.
Yeah.
Which leaves you with room for something else afterwards.
Yeah, if you do the Louis Suon helmsman combo, you've still got 2 spaces left and 3 points open. So you've got your options there.
Yeah.
All right. Next, we're going to talk about La Cantabrian, or La Cantabrian, which is 7 points. It's a two-masted blockade runner. It's Master 3S 4S. It has 2 cargo, SS move, and it cannot be pinned. What's the point of this ship?
It doesn't have a good roll. Yeah. It's nothing good. Like the Hada. I don't know.
Looks like Cantabrian had no good role models.
Maybe the Villalobos.
Yeah, that's way better. Yeah. Oh, well. Yeah, let's move on.
Alright. Going to El Hambre. Alright, 1-masted ship, 5 points, 2 cargo space, S+S, 4S cannon. When this ship carries no cargo, she gets +S to her base move.
Yeah, basic empty Gold Runner, I think.
Yeah, like basic empty Gold Runner.
Yeah, kind of like the Whisper and some other ones we've seen similar to this.
Kind of reminds of like the Sleipnir for the Vikings, but just by the dint of being Spanish, this is leagues better. Also that 5-point cost.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Still not a good ship, though.
Nah.
Yeah.
The next one, the Spanish crew, Rolando. 4-point Spanish crew. Same ability as Rothschild, so...
Well, actually, it's a little bit different in the wording. Because Rothschild says, take as much unique treasure up from the other ship take as much unique treasure from the other ship as she can carry.
This one does, too.
Yeah, they're the same. Yeah, it's the same ability.
Okay.
So yeah, same stuff applies. I mean, the Spanish have, I guess, better ships to use Timon than the English. I'm thinking either the version of the San Cristobal would be really quick and able to catch enemy ships carrying those treasures you want.
La Monarca.
Yep, yeah, that's a good one
too.
Yeah,
that's schooner ability.
And we'll wrote a review of Rolando that I'd encourage people to check out if they want to learn more about this ability. It's a good review. Kind of opens your eyes to it a bit. So I still think it's too expensive, but oh well.
Yeah. Although, because we've already kind of talked about this ability, why don't you also take the next one?
Yeah. Duque Alfonso de Castilla is a Spanish crew, 5 points, much better. This guy's got captain, and once returned when this ship hits an enemy ship, also eliminate 1 crew from that ship. So crew elimination, which is a 2-point ability. This is basically the Spanish version of Thomas Gunn the Younger from Spanish Main. It's a very good, simple ability combo for a gunship. I'm thinking El Rosal, even just from this set, would be a good ship to put him on, or La Tartessos, or La Ebro.
Oh, yeah.
Keeping in the same set. And, just a very...
maybe El Alma?
Yeah, that's a solid one, too. Yep, absolutely. It's a good crew to put on any Spanish gunship, really. Just a basic, good named crew, named captain.
Yeah, beyond Frozen North, I would consider Asesino de la Nave.
Ooh.
Yeah, because then you could knock out 2 crew on your first hit and then 1 for each hit after.
Yeah.
Or knock out a crew and then kill all the gold.
Yeah, it's just got a lot of possibilities. It's like an exceptionally powerful crew, which is not all that common in this set. But anyway, after that comes La Delacroix or La Delacroix. I'm not even going to try.
I think this is another ship. The way you do the first time, the Delacroix.
Yeah, it's probably Delacroix. This is another ship with a really strange picture where they've punched out every single streamer and put one on each mast.
It looks so beautiful.
Part of me is bothered by that because, there's not a slot for each mast, but I do like how it looks.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
I think they should be pointing the other way because that's the way the wind would blow, but
yeah.
That's artistic nitpicking.
Yeah. As for what La Delacroix is, you've got a 5-master for 17 points, French, because that's where we are now. The guns are 3S, 2L, 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 3S, 3 cargo, SS move, and reverse captain is its ability. I think this is like not very good.
I think it's pretty good.
I think it's too expensive and has too small of a hold to do. It's expensive and has a small hold, so you want to do something crazy with it, but you can't really.
Yeah.
It's just sort of it's vanilla.
I don't think.
Yeah, a lot of the really French ships you could describe as vanilla.
Yeah, I think it's really pretty, and I think the possibilities are good. I've used this one really effectively, including in Command the Oceans. It's a good spot for French crew that have multiple abilities to not take advantage of, but to partially make up for the cargo space. Like they've got first version of St. Croix or whoever. He's got SAT and +1 against English, and then you could combine him with Jordan Dumas, who's captain and reroll, and then you could put helmsman oarsman on. So you got a pretty effective gunship. You could also do I think I've done this once. Smokebot specialist, of course, with reverse captain. And then just combo the crew to get extra actions. Then you could shoot. And then, the possibilities are pretty solid with this ship. I know it's not amazing compared to some of the other ones like Solio Royal or Superb, but I think it's pretty good, a little bit underrated, and really pretty ship too. So this is actually one of my favorite French 5-masters, I would say. It's a good flagship.
Yeah, I wish I had this one. It's one of the few French 5-masted ships that we don't have in our collection.
Yeah. All right.
I started that one, so I guess it's your turn now, Billy.
Yeah. Check out that picture.
For Pete's sake, people, come on. Come on. Okay, we're freaking out because the picture here in the gallery, the bow jib mast is put in backwards.
On Le Bourbon, the 4-masted French.
Le Bourbon. Okay, after seeing that, I'm going to need me some bourbon, man. Come on.
Yeah. And there's no streamer
bourbon
at all.
Did you have when you built this?
There's no streamer on this one, and it does have a flag, unlike any of the English ships.
Yeah. All right, on to the ship itself. Artistic nitpicking aside. 11 points for cargo space, space move of L, 3S, 4L, 4L, 3S, 4-masted ship, and the very handy reroll ability. So it's the reroll, you can use that for a myriad of things, a cannon, a boarding action, EA, same action twice roll.
Yeah. AA.
Yeah. The fleet admiral ability, you got to roll a 6 to get 2 actions.
I feel like I feel like it's mediocre except for reroll. Like I don't know. The reroll is the only thing that makes it
good.
Yeah.
But even then, I think I would choose La Geographe over this because La Geographe has the same ability.
Yeah. It's literally the same ship, but faster for 1 point more.
Yeah, you've written reviews on them, so you know better.
Yes. Yeah, I wrote a review on Le Bourbon. I think it's better than the stats might make it look. It looks like a 5 or a 6 out of 10. I think it's like a 7 out of 10 ship, just barely. Because you can kind of use it as a main gunship if you throw some crew on it, if you want like a cheaper option, but it is heavily limited in its capabilities by the fact that it does have a pair of 4L guns. It doesn't have a great base move.
Well, I'm just thinking like generics only, captain, helmsman, and a cannoneer.
Yeah.
And the cannoneer paired with the reroll, that's for those main 2 cannons when you don't roll the 5 or 6.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. The next one is Marie Antoinette. This is a French 4-masted schooner. It's got 4 cargo, SS move. All 4 cannons are 3S, and then it's got S boarding. So a lot of S's here.
Points.
Yeah. Oh, what did I say? Someone else?
No, I'm not even sure you said the point.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, 14.
14.
Yeah, it's got S board. This one just doesn't really do it for me. It just nothing really stands out enough. So, oh well.
It's pretty vanilla.
Yeah, exactly.
Unlike the photo of it, which features another misplaced mast. Why? And no flag on this one.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. Marie Antoinette, this is a really boring ship, especially considering the French have how many S-board crew?
3 or 4.
Yeah. I want to say it's more than that.
Okay,
I know they got
by itself, or do you want to talk about captains with S-board?
Any number, like any combination of S-board, I think the French
it's somewhere around 6 or 7.
Yeah. They have an absurd number of S-board.
There's the 2 S-board captains from Fire and Steel. There's at least 2 sources of it on crew from Barbary Coast. One of the cardboard guys has it, and one of the regular release guys has it. I think someone from Mysterious Islands has it for them.
Yeah, so basically the problem is the French have so much availability of this ability that there's no real I know that if you want it, there's no reason to go out of your way to get it on a ship.
Yeah.
And beyond that, the stats are really nothing special for a 4-master.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. La Valois. How does this remind me of Jacques Duc de Valois or something?
Oh yeah, it is. Jacques Duc de Valois.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's probably just a coincidence.
And the gallery here doesn't have the flavor text for this thing listed, so.
Yeah, if anybody has a copy of this, it would be worth. Sometimes if you hit edit, you can see if it's written in. But no.
It's not.
Nobody has. It's not miniature trading, not displaying it. Nobody's actually put it in for this ship yet.
Yeah.
I'd be curious if there's a link. Not literally a link.
I
want to know if they're canonically connected.
Yeah.
Anyway, La Valois is a 12.3 master. All of its guns are 3L. Its cargo space is 2. Base move is L. And its ability is broadsides attack, which is not quite right on this ship. Yeah. This is probably something that would be kind of exciting for a new player to pull out of the pack.
Yeah.
But for people like us, this is like bleh.
Yeah.
The old veterans.
Just Captain Helmsman, maybe Oarsman, but pretty basic, just the gunship. Yeah.
Yeah.
The next one's even more boring. Oh well.
Yeah, the Valois is easy to lose in your collection.
Yeah.
You see what I did there?
Bill, are you there to do the next one, or I could do it?
Oh, oops, my bad. Okay, I got it. Awesome. All right, La Toulouse. I get it now.
You got it.
Toulouse. Yeah. All right, 3-point square rigged as opposed to jib set. 10 points, 3 cargo spaces, base move of L, 3S, 3L, 3S. And it's got that leech cannon ability. If this ship shoots another ship that is previously shot at by another ship this turn, she gets +1 to her cannons against that ship this turn. Breathe.
Come up for air.
It's like back under the water. Hide. It's that ability. I don't know if I've mentioned it yet, but it's either hit or miss. By another ship that was previously shot at, you could use something that's got terrible guns to shoot at a ship, and then this thing can come in and get the +1 cannon bonus. It's situational ability. 10 points at 3 cargo spaces. You're much better off just putting a captain, a helmsman, and maybe some kind of equipment and or specialist on here. Because it's not really quick enough to do gold running, and it's not a particularly brilliant gunship. So it's just kind of meh.
Yeah,
it's pack filler. Yep. You could run it with all those Jade ships that have this ability, like in a big pack, but even then...
it's not
even then, it's still forgettable.
Yeah. The next one is...
Unlike the next one.
Yeah, the next one is much better. La Lyon, the French ship 3-master, 11 points, 3 cargo, SS move. Cannons are 2S, 2L, 2S, but they're basically rank 1, because it's got World Hater, gets +1 to cannon rolls against any French ship. So, this one's basic, but just really effective firepower. So, Captain Helmsman, I'm thinking maybe Firepot Specialist or any equipment. You'll be sailing around
double shot
SSS with 1S, 1L, 1S cannon. So one of the best pure firepower deals in the French Navy. So, and a really good looking ship too, I think. So,
cool. It's a really good, really simple gunship.
Yep.
I would say this is probably up there with the likes of HMS Nautilus in that category. While it's a little bit slower and more expensive, it does have better guns.
It's got bang up firepower.
Yeah, as you said,
if I was generics. Although since I have had my fair share of fire equipments backfire on me, I might be more inclined to use a double shot. Just shoot twice, extra damage.
Yeah, that could be a good option. Have we completed our talk of La Lyon?
Yeah, I think so.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Okay. Onward to Le Breton, which is another icebreaker. This is France's. This one is 14 points. You get 4 cargo, L move, 3L, 3L, 3S, and then crew of any nationality. My feelings as a whole about icebreakers is that they're not actually all that great in ability. They're kind of cool thematically, but they're not super necessary because icebergs aren't that good. So once you look past that, even though this has better stats and a good ability compared to most of the rest of the icebreakers, you've still got a 3-masted ship with not exemplary stats. Cargo space is good. The armament is, I guess, above average. A hair above average, I'd say.
Yeah, okay, just the L's.
Yeah, and you do have a good flexible ability, but you really don't have any true strengths worth augmenting on this ship, and she's a little expensive.
Yeah, she's not terrible as icebreakers go. Got a complicated hull and sail design, kind of interesting artwork, but
good looking ship.
Yeah, there's some interesting possibilities with the ability, but it's better on big ships.
Yeah.
So
and when it's funny because when you say it's nothing special as icebreakers go, which means in the grand scheme of things, with icebreakers being not that good, it's not that good a ship.
Yeah.
As much as I wish it were.
Yeah.
Obago is better than this.
Yep.
All
right. Cool.
All right. Moving on to La Dijon. All right, we got
mustard. Talk about this ship.
I hate mustard. I can't stand it.
Not even Dijon mustard?
No, especially not Dijon mustard. That's pungent stuff. All right, the first 2-master for the French here in the set. 8 points for cargo space. S plus L movement, that's very nice. 3S, 4S cannons. And island treasure trading, which is after looking at a treasure on a wild island, you may trade any one treasure from that island for a random treasure on any other wild island. This ship must love the traded treasure. This is a pretty good gold runner for the French, just within this set.
Yeah.
And even going beyond this set, this isn't a bad gold runner. S plus L base move is really nice to get out to the islands quickly.
Yep.
The treasure trading ability to get rid of potentially bad UTs, send them to some poor unsuspecting sod who's about to dock at an island.
Yeah.
I agree.
Agree. This is strategically probably a pretty good one in small games too.
Absolutely. Yeah. a good point.
Not among the most cost-effective. You'd probably choose Le Solitaire and L'Intrépide first.
The Solitaire?
That's what I said.
Or wait, no. Wait, am I thinking of the right ship?
To my knowledge, Le Solitaire is the one-masted cheerleader that's 17 points.
Le Pique,
I'm thinking. Yeah, there you go.
Or Le Bon Marine. Yeah, basically a swarm of small, empty gold runners that are fast. Yes, this would work very well with them.
Yeah. I believe I tried to use this one for the Frozen North Anniversary game, but I think I either got hit with Runes of Death or Odin's Revenge, and my ship in it got sunk like before it was my turn again. And it was bad too because I had like 14 coins worth of gold on it. So I was like, oh, darn it! There goes my chances of winning.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me. Oh well.
The next one, La Beloy. I don't know if it's
Beloy, I think.
Beloy. Okay, cool. French 2-mast blockade runner, 9 points, 3 cargo, L move. Both cannons are 2S, +1 to boarding rolls. It's mostly mediocre, but I mean the cargo and guns and ability are all solid. So I mean, as 2-masted gunships go, this one's decent, but I wouldn't want to spend the 14 points on it to optimize it. So it's still kind of not great. Yeah.
It's kind of something you'd use out of desperation in a big game.
Exactly. Yeah. I think I've done that.
Well, yeah, a few times I've had this used against me in our campaigns. When I've been against the French player, I think for the winter economy, used this to try and take islands that the English had upgraded. Because it was just big enough with the +1 to boarding rolls that it could win boards against them and therefore take islands away from the English. Otherwise, yeah, niche use, Captain Helmsman, and that's it. If that you want to use it at all.
Yeah. I guess we'll jump to Marianne next, which is another not awesome ship. I mean, you could probably make an argument for it, but Marianne is a 1-master. It's got a 2L gun, and it'll cost you 4 points to get it. With it, you get 2 cargo space and an L base move. Once per turn, this ship may look at 1 face-down cargo on any ship. This seems to me like a really cheap support gunship, but it's not as cheap as the French go, because Le Coeur de Lion is even cheaper than this, and I'm not sure that this, I guess, mild support ability justifies that cost.
Yeah, I think it's an okay ship, just by how cheap it is. I mean, 2 cargo for 4 points and a 2L cannon, not bad.
Yeah.
It's a solid package. The core is better. Core is kind of OP in general, I think. I think this ship is decent. Yeah, this ship is decent, like staying at your home island with a navigator, or in a big game just as like a spire. Maybe an empty gold runner. I think she's decent though. The core overshadows her, but she's still a decent option. Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, it's fair.
It's a solid ship. A lot of Wonder Masters are just really bad, so the ones that are
they're either really bad or pretty good.
Yeah, this one is very cheap, so you could actually use her, hopefully, every once in a while. So. Alright, crew time.
Alright, moving on to the crew. First up here, we've got Leander Arnold, or Arnold, I don't know how to say it.
I think.
Yeah, maybe he's related to the guy from, what is it, Rise of the Fiends?
Yeah.
Jules. Arnold?
Yeah.
Jules.
He's gotta be.
Interesting. Alright, so he's 5 points. If this ship wins a boarding party, she may take as much treasure from the other ship as she can carry.
Use it with an S boarder.
Yeah, you could use it with an S board. Let's see, what was the ship here that did S boarding? Use it with Marie Antoinette, maybe, if you don't have any of the other S boarding French crew.
Or any better ships.
Yeah, that too. But, you know, with abilities that say take as much treasure from the other ship as you can carry, means I would try to optimize that as much as possible to like find like the biggest ship or the ship with the most cargo and try to optimize it there. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's worth 5 points. Yeah.
I've always thought that that's worth like no more than 3.
Yeah.
But that's my complaint with the cost of the ability as a whole and not this one crew.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Amiral Louis Cartier is a French crew, 7 points. This one is pretty good. +1 to boarding rolls, and then EA. So on a 5 or 6, you get an extra action. One of the best abilities in the game. It's appropriately costed. This is one of the better French named crew. You definitely want them on a big capital ship, like the Delacroix or pretty much any of their good 5 masters. They've got a bunch of good ones. Or maybe La Course or Hercule. But yeah, it's a very good name crew for the French. I would pair him with a reroller, hopefully. And speaking of S-board, maybe an S-boarder on this ship, he gets +1. So a very good overall. A lot of good options.
This might go with one of the Saber, the French Switchblade.
Oh yes, I think I've done that.
Yeah. Also, this crew is perfect for La Géographe if you put a captain and helmsman and him aboard.
Yeah, that's not a bad combination necessarily.
I guess we've kind of covered that.
Yeah.
So after that comes the USS Atlanta. We're getting into the American ships now. The artwork on the ship is really neat, I think.
Oh, yeah.
This is a cool one. Yeah, the USS Atlanta. This is a 13.5 master. Now, the Americans have already got one of those in Roanoke, so I'm going to be comparing her to Roanoke, which is one of my favorite ships. Go read my review. I've only got 2 comments on it. I spent a lot of time on that. Please. Anyway.
Shameless plug.
Yes, quite shameless plug. In USS Atlanta, I think I may need to give some more attention to, because reading this is a pretty neat ship. I wonder why I don't have it yet. So,
I think because Frozen North is hard to get.
Yeah, it's pretty hard.
South China Seas.
Yeah, no, there's a bunch of American ships from this that I still need to get. I like playing as the Americans. Anyway, USS Atlanta has 5 3L guns, 4 cargo space, L move, and the ability is you may double the range of this ship's cannons each turn, but you must roll a 6 to hit. So this is kind of like an alt version of, what is it, La Neptuno?
Yep.
El Neptuno.
Yeah, El Neptuno. So the base gun ranks are better than Neptuno, but the cargo space is inferior. I'm not sure about...
Along with the base move and point cost.
Yeah.
El Neptuno is a point cheaper and has an S+S starting base move with 5 cargo.
Yep. Yeah, so Atlanta's kind of comparable, but is lacking in some areas. It
comes down to crew combinations, really.
Yeah. I would say Neptuno is a better, like, purpose-built sniper, or almost like a hybrid, arguably. Atlanta's just a better pure gunship, because you still have pretty good accuracy at closer range. So, that's the main
I agree. I think as a whole, this ability is kind of gimmicky. Yeah. I think we like to imagine it being better than it is, but in my experience, my limited experience says this is not actually all that good. It's just kind of a fun little thing to do on occasion. And once you look past that, it's still an okay deal for a 5-masted ship.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with the ability summary. Yep.
Yeah, although recently didn't I hear from one of you that for that sniping ability, there's sometimes a difference between, an unmodified 6 versus a 6.
No, that's in the pirate code.
6.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so
you can always use.
You can stack up some cannon bonuses.
Yep.
Yes,
you
can
get pretty far range with this.
Yeah, although because the Americans don't really have access to international crew via the use of any crew abilities, only certain ships can take international crew. This is not as cheesable as El Neptuno.
Yeah.
So
the Spanish don't have an international crew either.
They got Roberto Santana though. which is
useful.
Okay, that's true. They got Roberto Santana.
And they've also got, they do have one Black Mark crew, which is important.
Inquisitor.
Oh, yeah, that Inquisitor. That one Inquisitor guy.
Yeah, which allows access to Cursed crew, but
that's not worth it.
Yeah, for the most part, it's not. But anyway, USS Atlanta, neat ship as a whole.
Yeah, it's a nice little capital ship for them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on now to the USS Albany.
Wait, is it the Albany already? Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's the Albany. It's the next one up.
Yeah,
we got
I clicked the Jackson.
Yeah. We got a 4-masted ship, 15 points, 5 cargo space. That's pretty nice, especially for the Americans. Base move of L, it's okay. Rank 2S cannons across the board. And if this ship wins a boarding party, she may take as much treasure from the other ship as she can carry. Ooh. Ben, I think you wrote a review about this.
Yep. Yeah.
About the Albany. All the fun things you can do with it.
Yeah.
And whatnot and so forth.
Yeah, there's a lot of good combos. Commodore Peregrine Stern is one of my favorites from Savage Shores. He's 9 points, but you get Captain +1 to boarding and EA, extra action.
Oh, yeah, that +1 to board comes in with the ability here. That's nice.
So it pairs, and then you get extra actions. Then you do Helmsman Oarsman. Oarsman protects the 2 vital crew, and then you get LS doubled with the EA. You can do Wayne Nolan for free, essentially.
Reroll.
Who links. And then you still have 3 cargo space, so then you got reroll for either the EA or the boarding party. So it comes to a decent amount of points, but you got a ship moving LS sometimes with great cannons, 3 cargo, take as much treasure as you want. Good multi-purpose ship. You could go basic too, Captain Helmsman, maybe even Commander Albert Crenshaw. Make all the 2 cannons as well.
The L range.
Yeah, he's good on the Enterprise, but this is actually a decent ship for him. Those crew don't see a lot of usage. They turn all the ship's cannons L range, but if a ship's got like 4 or 5 2S cannons, make them all 2L, that could be worth the points. It's rarely worth it, but the Albany's a ship where, Crenshaw could actually be used on. So, yeah, the Albany's one of my favorite American ships. I think she's a little underrated, but it's quite good. Pretty powerful.
The USS Egan from Mysterious Islands is rather similar, isn't it?
Yeah.
But with a different ability?
Yeah.
It's got the sub-hunting ability.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, so worse
one
ability.
Less cargo space, and the middle cannons are L rank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, a purpose-built sub-hunter, but Albany's much better as a hybrid, I guess.
Yeah, but
or just a straight gunship.
Yeah.
Well, also, if you want to build a sub-hunter anyway, you could just put Kodiak on the Albany, I think, or whoever it is.
Shinji Smith, yeah.
Yeah. As a whole, yeah, a good ship.
Oh, yeah. The next one is almost the same as the Mary Antoinette. USS Jackson, 14 points for cargo, SS Speed. First 3 cannons are 3S, the back one is 3L, then it's got S-board, so other than the 3L at the stern, same as Mary Antoinette, French 4-mast schooner, same thing, really, just kind of meh. I don't really like this ship too much, but...
I do have one very special thing to say about this ship. The rear mast is in the correct place in the photo.
Oh, good point.
Yes! They built it right!
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wonder if there's anything interesting you can do with that. I mean, maybe Peregrine Stern would be worthwhile, but I don't think any of the other crew that the Americans have are all that good for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
Americans, as opposed to the American. Oh yeah, you got the cargo master happening, the Americans, at least, as opposed to the French, don't have a plethora of other S-board crew. So at least this could be slightly more usable to them, like in Faction Pure games.
That's a good point. Yeah,
what the Americans have plenty of is the ship's crew cannot be eliminated unless they sink, like 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
So, good grief.
Yeah, so in some ways then, in addition to the 1-3L gun, the USS Jackson is probably better as a whole despite being almost identical.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of those cases where crew selection is probably the deciding factor.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Speaking of identical. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Then you were saying something about almost identical. Well, the USS
This is a copy and paste of the Valois from above, from the French.
Yeah. And in case you don't remember what the Valois stats were, it's a 12.3 master, 2 cargo space, L move, all 3 L guns, broadsides attack. We agreed that this is kind of bleh.
Yep.
Probably fun for new players. Since that's a copy paste, does anybody object to me just doing USS Sioux instead?
Nope.
Okay. USS Sioux then is another 3 master. Looks kind of shadowy in the picture, if I do say. It's 11 points. It's 3 mass, I already said. 2S, 3S, 3S guns. 2 cargo, L move, and world hater. So, okay deal on a mid-sized support gunship, but it's not well endowed with move, speed, or cargo, and I think there's better from other nations within this set.
Yeah, the Lion.
Yeah, Leon is better.
Yeah, Leon's better.
Did you say 2S for the gun? Because I'm looking at the database.
It's 2L.
Yeah.
My bad. I was getting ahead of myself, I think.
It's a good gunship overall, just pure firepower. So, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Guess I'm next then. Yeah. USS Cheyenne is the American icebreaker. So 3 master, 15 points, 3 cargo, SS move. Cannons are 3L, 3L, 3S. And then it's got S Explorer, so you can explore islands with an S without docking. Man, this one's weird. I think it's the most expensive icebreaker. Yeah. I mean, it's got some good qualities, but scouting just isn't that great. And for less points, you can get the Franklin. I don't know. It's just not that good. It's okay.
I mean, this one reminds me a lot of Gale Force 9.
Yeah.
Because Icebreaker gives it the ability to ignore terrain. This is the same point cost. The armament is similar, but not as good because it's 1 mass smaller. The cargo space is not as good. The base move is not as good. Now that I look at it, this is kind of just like a worse version of Gale Force 9 in almost every way. You could make the argument that the Cargo Master helps salvage it a little bit, but I'm not so sure.
It's the fastest icebreaker up to this point, with a base move of S+S.
But that doesn't do it much good.
Yeah, but it's better than L.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could come up with some kind of really stupid metaphor on... I'm going to give up. The USS Cheyenne is not a very good ship.
Yep.
Most no icebreaker is decent. Good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The next one is worse. Even though it's not superior. So, oh well.
It's inferior.
Yeah. Actually, because we got a little bit out of order, why don't you take this one, Billy?
Okay. USS Superior, 2 masts, blockade runner. We're getting down the line here for the Americans. 10 points, base move L, 3S, 3S, 1 cargo space.
Mm-hmm.
And this ship eliminates 2 masts with 1 hit. Oh, I wish that ability was on a different ship.
Yeah.
I mean, that offensive ability is one of the best offensive abilities in the game. But it's completely wasted on a ship that cannot move faster than L.
Yep.
I mean,
awful.
And even with the argument that, Cargo Master's out of space, it's like, no, it's not worth it. Yeah, too many points wasted. I suppose if you had to use this, you could use Montana Maze from Ocean's Edge, who links to all American ships. You get same action twice, and you're 1 other crewman. You can't be eliminated, and you've got room for a captain. Even then, you've got
20 points on this.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Not really
it's
worth
just terrible. Yeah.
I would like to advocate. I would like to advocate for it a little bit, in that I'm not sure the Americans even have anything cheaper that you can call a gunship.
Yeah, they do. Montezuma. That's a good one.
The next ship is cheaper and better.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, true.
Well,
the next ship is cheaper and better.
Wait. Something I've just noticed. This is the second ship in this set that has a Captain Griffin.
Okay.
Yeah. Two Griffins.
Yeah.
Yay.
That makes
Which
him
one
even
is
more
the real
mysterious.
Griffin?
Yeah, he's got the mask, so his flavor text describes him as mysterious. Now this is even more like intrigued his story in a way. Not that it's the
His
same
flavor
one.
text is interesting from beginning in Ocean's Edge.
Yeah.
Had him here for the in the English Griffin, and then his two flavor texts in Rise of the Fiends. Very intriguing.
Anyway, I would probably use this. You would need a cargo master in place somewhere else. I would do. It is a support gunship. Period. I would do captain and probably a cannoneer, not another, not a musketeer. Yeah, no, I would do captain, cannoneer, and then Wayne Nolan, maybe, if you're wanting to get the most out of it.
I wouldn't use him.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
You'd use the Montezuma instead.
Yeah, or the Maryland.
I'd use the next ship.
Yeah.
I'd use the next ship up.
Yeah, I would too, now that I've read this.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, yes, I would. I like this.
Yeah. Who's up now?
Oh, wait, this is, I think, me. We were swapping the order that time because we got a little jumbled, but it'll be you next, Ben.
Cool. Yep.
All right. The USS Maryland is a two-masted blockade runner. Again, this one's 8 points. You get a 2S and a 2L gun.
Already
you get
better.
2 cargo space and a 2S move. And on the ability is, on the turn this ship is pinned, eliminate 1 crew and 1 mast from the rammed ship. I am a huge fan of this ability. The base move is okay. The cost is competitive. The armament's great. This is a really good support ship.
Yeah, one of those perfect little mosquito ships, as they're called.
Yeah.
It's just an annoying little pest that's difficult to get rid of.
Yep.
To anybody who didn't listen to the Mysterious Islands review, I have used this type of ability to override defensive abilities like the ones that prevent you from doing damage on the first hit a ship takes when it has all its masts. If you've got an opponent using something like El Corazado with Joaquin Vega, where it'll take 3 hits to knock down the first mast, sail this into it, override that, and knock down a mast straight away. These are really nasty little ships. Almost all the ones that have this ability are really good. Rarely do they have good guns, too, like this.
Yeah, this one's wicked good. Yeah. Maybe the best of all of them, arguably. Yeah.
You're probably right.
Possibly. Next one, USS Vermont, another American 2-master. This one's square-rigged.
My eyes! Look at that artwork.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's like bright. Yeah. Red, white, and blue, but bright. This one's
like House of the Rising Sun on psychedelic, man.
9 points for cargo. L move. Cannons are 3L, 3S, and then crew of any nationality may use their abilities on the ship. This one I think is slightly underrated. I would kind of maybe not really a hybrid, but I guess Captain Helmsman, and then maybe the option of using like a firepot specialist or exploding shot or cannoneer. So I don't think it's too good, but the cargo gives you some options.
Yeah, this one, its only really good trait is the cargo space, and while the crew of any nationality ability does add a lot of flexibility, this doesn't really have all that much in the way of really good abilities to augment. I'm sure that there's something cool that can be done, I just can't think of it.
Yeah, I don't know. Alright, let's move on.
These take pretty pictures.
All right, and I guess we'll hop back in order. I'll do the Seminole, and
cool.
And I guess I apologize for sticking you with Beaver Brown.
Yeah, it's okay.
Well, I mean, you get to be the first one to talk smack about him. Anyway, but that means I get to be the one to talk smack about the USS Seminole, because I don't get a good thing to talk about either. The Seminole is a 1-masted ship that costs 13 points. I think you can see where this is going. It has 1 cargo space, L move, a 5S gun, and the cheerleader ability.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, much else. Cheaper than Hannah, but half the speed. So,
yeah, and Hannah, we at least said, is a good option for a flotilla tug.
Yeah.
This isn't.
Yep. Yeah, this one's pretty poor. Oh well.
So the flavor text makes it out to be something else.
Yeah, it's like
this plucky little vessel has defeated ships 4 times her size, and the very sight of her inspires other crews to great deeds. I don't think so.
I know, maybe if it had like longship and 2-well cannon, maybe, but no.
Yeah.
The opposite.
Oh, that would be a really cool ship if it were. I would have a soft spot for that, but this is good.
All right, on to Beaver.
Yeah, all right. Beaver Brown. First American crew, 3 points, and +1 to cannon rolls against Viking ships. His expression, he looks about as unenthused about getting +1 to cannon rolls against Vikings as I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, come on, man.
Yeah.
He's making the face of the people who open the pack and find him in it.
Yeah.
He's a mirror.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no.
Yeah.
Like, I'm stuck with this.
Maybe 1 point at most.
All
right.
Yeah.
Next one.
Yeah, or it's like I'm a crew for those garbage fleets.
Yeah.
No one uses the Vikings.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, although in a garbage fleet, they might use the Vikings against you in a way. If they're trying to fleets too. Maybe. Yeah. Dr. Clark Lewis, like Lewis and Clark, is next.
That's funny. I never made that connection.
Yeah, I didn't until like last year. This guy's 4 points. He's just like no, he's not. Sorry. He's just like he's in the Far Seeker. Ignores terrain.
Yeah.
And then he's got S Explorer. So we've already.
We've already talked about that. You can skip that.
Yeah.
Why don't you start Runes of Power?
Yeah.
All right, on to the UTs.
Unique treasures.
Runes
of
There's
Power.
no American crew in this set. Damn.
Yeah, there's no good ones.
No.
No, there are literally only 2, and neither of them are all that good.
Yep. Runes of Power.
They come on the same card too. They're a 2 for crew for.
Yep. The UTs, I don't really like most of the runes. A couple are crazy good, but they're not very, I don't know, they're pretty underwhelming. But Runes of Power is loaded face down, just like most of the other runes. You can reveal at the start of your turn. When revealed, none of the ship's abilities or crew abilities can be used this turn, which is really bad. The ship can be given 2 shoot actions this turn. Turrets cannot use, the shoot action cannot use, I don't know, abilities against it, something like that. It's not good though, because it cancels the ship and crew abilities. So it totally, I mean, I guess it limits it, and it takes up a cargo space, which is going to be hard to come by on a gunship. So this is not very good. So maybe Captain.
This is like designed for like when it's your turn and you've been shot at, and now you get to shoot back.
Yeah.
And you've been decimated by, I don't know, some kind of canceller and or crew eliminator, or you just don't have any other good options.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just kind of a lame UT.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not going to find it on a gunship, so you're going to have to go out of your way to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, Runes of Speed is next. Load this treasure face down. You may reveal it at the start of your turn. When revealed, none of this ship's abilities or crew can be used this turn. We're going this way again, I see. The ship can be given 2 move actions this turn. Okay, I should have shortened that by saying it's Runes of Power, but for move actions instead of shoot actions. And this could be okay on...
this is a more decent one.
It's not that good, though, because it gets loaded face down.
Yeah. I would reveal it.
You take space.
I'd reveal it like right after when I'm starting to go home, and then
use
it on like the Beilul when you don't have any crew aboard or something.
Yeah,
I like the Banshee Strike, because this popped up a couple times in the tournament too. We did Runes of Speed and the Screw Engine.
Yeah, what I would do is, like, even if you ran across this with, like, a ship with only 3 cargo, you could, now correct me if I'm wrong, could you load this, activate it at the start of your next turn, while docked, use the free action to explore again and take the last gold, and then roll away?
I don't know.
Anyway.
Wolf.
Question for the rules thread.
Question for the wolf.
Yeah.
Yep. And then removes himself from the game after you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the last part of it, where it removes itself from the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
All right, Runes of Defense. It's another one. Load this treasure face down. I think all of them have this.
Almost.
Yeah, these are really generic.
Yeah.
We can
You may choose to reveal it when one of the ship's masts is eliminated. When revealed, repair the mast and then move this ship. I'm assuming
I think it's S.
there.
I think it's S.
I'm assuming S because nothing really moves L in this game.
Yeah.
Like these. And then move the ship S in any direction. Then remove Runes of Defense from the game.
It's like a slightly
situational?
upgraded. Yeah, it's like a slightly upgraded Cross of Coronado from Revolution, which is almost the same.
Yeah.
So.
But this is a very situational. Since it's loaded face down, you could, I guess, give it to a gunship. But I don't know why you'd want to do that.
Yeah. You could. You could put it on a ship that ignores the first hit, and then when your opponent thinks they've finally gotten and passed it, you flip this, and then we get the mass back up. And then you have all your mass again. So. Yeah.
Yep.
Put it on El Corazado.
Oh god. That'd be.
Well, dude. Well, depending upon how you set that up, I don't know if there would be cargo space on board for the Corazado for this.
That's true.
Yeah, too complicated.
That might be something doable in only a smaller game. Yeah. But even then, using El Corazado in a smaller game, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it's tough, yeah.
Unless you're going like a 40-point death match.
Yeah, but how do you get a unique treasure in a death match?
Yeah, I don't really hear about people playing death matches much anymore. I think it was more popular back a while ago, and on online game, I know there was death matches, but
yeah.
Next one is Runes of Destruction, loaded face down. When revealed, eliminate an iceberg, then remove Runes of Destruction from the game. I can see this being used if there's like a clusterberg and you can house rule it to take them all out, or maybe a custom iceberg that's really big, like I've got a pretty big one. Or if you see the one from Runes of Odin, which we'll see soon, and you can take that threat out. But other than that, I don't see this being too great, personally.
Yeah.
Well, the clusterberg is, I think, considered one iceberg for game purposes. So this is a handy way to get rid of those.
I guess so.
But
yeah. If you're gonna put in a cluster iceberg, aren't you going out of your way to put that in the game, make a big deal out of introducing it? Why would you want to remove it?
Yeah.
Well, maybe you didn't put this ET and maybe someone else did, but
yeah.
I'd just rather bring an icebreaker. If you're doing a clusterberg, it's like get rid of it. It's much more guaranteed. I'm just going to sail straight at it.
Yep.
I don't have to worry about going and finding this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but then you're wasting your points on an icebreaker.
Yep.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yep. After that is Runes of Magic, and this one's a lot more interesting because you can play with this one by combining it with Nemo's plans. Load this treasure face down. When revealed, move any iceberg L in any direction. Then remove Runes of Magic from the game. Yeah, hasn't somebody already made use of this with Nemo's plans to make like an iceberg trolling fleet?
I don't know.
No, really, you really want an iceberg trolling fleet. Combine this with Runes of Odin.
Yeah, I think we should. Let's read Odin next. Bill, you can do that one.
All right, we'll skip over the Runes of Wealth and the Runes of Loki and the Runes of Thor because who cares about them? Well, actually, no. Runes of Thor.
There's going to be some interesting... Well, no, there's interesting stuff in all of those.
Yeah, we can talk about them. I think we should do the Odin combo first.
Okay, yeah, let's just talk about Odin.
Yeah, it's perfect.
All right, so here we go. Runes of Odin. Load this treasure face down. When revealed, place an iceberg from outside the game anywhere in the play area, not within Elven Island. If the iceberg touches any ship, remove the ship and any crew and treasure aboard her from the game. Then remove Runes of Odin. So this is like the closest you're going to get to a ballistic missile in the game.
Yep, exactly.
It's like automatic, it's like, boink, you're gone.
Yep.
I recall you comboed the Runes of Odin with Runes of Magic in your Century of Empires game.
Yep, exactly.
To eliminate an El Cruzado that was completely weighted down.
Yep, yeah, it was amazing.
You had Joaquin Vega, you had the Chancellor guy.
Yep.
I think probably and some kind of world hater. So
basically
very quickly.
The English were doing well, and they had I think 2 or 3 spy abilities, and they found one of the 2 UTs, and then they used the spires over the course of like much of the game to locate the other one, and then in the process of taking out the faction that had the other one, they made sure to steal it rather than sink it. So then they had both, and then they flipped them at the same turn, dumped the iceberg right next to the Acorazado, because you can't just dump it on a ship. But then you flip Runes of Magic and move it right into the ship, and then it's removed from the game, so it's just gone. So it's devastating. They were going to win the final battle anyway, but the English made it a lot easier on themselves to do it before that started. So. Yeah.
Wait, you said you couldn't just drop it on a ship?
Yeah, no, Runes of Odin, you can't put it, you can't just dump it on a ship, because that would be
Is
ridiculous.
that in the pirate code?
Yeah,
Okay.
That would be ridiculous. You could just take out a Time Master without even doing anything, just loading
Well,
UT.
that happened actually in the Winter Economy game I played.
Oh, I remember that. That sounds familiar.
Yeah. One
the reason why I asked.
Out of the game anywhere in the play area, not within Elven Island. So the person who had its UT and flipped it, put an iceberg within just outside of L of like someone's home island and right under the Balhuan. It was nuts.
Yeah, well, the reason why I ask about the pirate code thing is because the wording doesn't actually sound like it prohibits that.
Yeah.
It says, pirate code, I just brought it up. This iceberg cannot be placed in direct contact with a ship. Must move into contact with a ship, or a ship must move into contact with it in order to remove that ship from the game. So it's not like
Does it work? Does it work against icebreakers?
Yeah. It would have, if it hits an icebreaker when you roll for the die of the iceberg, it'll hit it. But if the
what if the icebreaker rams it?
Yeah, if it rams it first, you remove the iceberg and the CT from the game. So. And the icebreaker.
But does the icebreaker go with it?
Nope, the ship remains in play and takes no damage. So.
Ooh. Yeah. Okay. I guess I'm going to jump back to Runes of Wealth.
Yep.
But this treasure takes up 1 cargo space. When this ship has reached a cargo capacity, roll a d6. Replace the value of each non-unique treasure on this ship with the results. This is kind of like... is this kind of like Jade? I can't remember the effect of Jade.
It's weird. I don't even like it. Jade is like you double UT when unloaded, and then you can keep it on the ship. This one's
you
bad.
like double achieve one.
I think this one's
unless you're really lucky with the dice.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you have like a bunch of ones, or if you're playing a game with like zeros.
Yeah, zeros. That's a good one.
Yeah, if you're playing a game with a bunch of zeros, and this built into your strategy, it doesn't matter what die roll you get. You're turning nothing into something.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good combo for the zeros.
Yeah.
Which I need.
Tough I've got to work on my zero value. Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, the zero collection.
Anyway, after that, come. What's the next one?
Runes of Loki. I guess I'll go ahead and do it. Load this treasure face down. You may choose to reveal it after a d6 has been rolled. Change the result of the die roll to 1, then remove the Runes of Loki from the game. So it's a good, secretive sabotage play. Good against, all-powerful extra actions. Maybe an admiral's action.
Fleet admirals.
Yeah, or a crucial boarding party. There's a lot of good uses for it. So.
Or a broadside's attack roll.
Yeah.
This plus Nemo's plans would ruin a game.
Yeah.
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah. Yep. And you could say the same about the next one, too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Runes of Thor, which does the exact opposite of Runes of Loki. Change the result of the die roll to a 6. So, I just thought you could combo this with Nemo's plans and Runes of Wealth.
Oh, interesting.
So automatically ensure that you got a whole bunch of 6s.
Yeah, but then you have to combine 3 UTs, and that's tricky.
Yeah, especially on one
ship.
Yeah,
that is.
Yeah, 2 ships.
That is tricky. More practical uses for those fleet admiral guys, extra actions.
Yeah.
Since broadsides attacks has no other abilities, I'm not sure if Runes of Thor could be used with it.
It says so. Loki and Thor say they can't be used against broadsides attack, so no.
Oh, okay.
Is that no other abilities clause?
Yep.
All right.
So yeah.
Who's doing Runes of the Serpent?
I think you're up.
I believe.
Yeah.
Well, I just finished with Runes of Thor.
Okay, so I'll do the Serpent.
This treasure takes up 1 cargo space. This ship can dock at any iceberg. On her next turn, you may place her docked at any other iceberg. She can still be given a move action that turn. Then remove Runes of the Serpent from the game. I haven't heard much about this one. I think
this one sounds cool.
This one's really cool.
Like iceberg hopping.
Yeah, and
log hoppers, but with icebergs.
Could you use this with Runes of Odin?
Ooh, I don't know. Well, you might be able to use it to come away from the iceberg that's got that Runes of Odin place.
Maybe. This one to me sounds...
It says a ship with this treasure aboard does not take damage when it docks with either iceberg pirate code. So.
Okay, so I guess that counts as immunity.
It says this ability does not override the effect of Runes of Odin. Any ship that docks with that iceberg is removed from the game.
Boo.
Whatever. Right. Nah.
Yeah, whatever. Runes of the Serpent is still pretty cool. It's like fog hopping, but it's
icebergs.
Ice hopping.
But the only hard part is this is a UT instead of an ability on a ship.
Yeah. I would say Runes of the Serpent is also maybe the least well-known of the cool runes, of the decent ones. I don't think I have it yet. I don't think I've ever used it. I don't know if it's showing up in a game, but yeah, I think it could be.
I might have this UT, but I don't know if I've ever used it in the game either.
Yeah, this is one I definitely want to use. I think we'd all like to try it out.
Yeah, I'm thinking about combinations with this and Nemo's plans to iceberg hop.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a 10-master really getting the first shot with extra actions, that'd be bad.
Wait, does it say to remove from the game once you've used it? Yeah, it does. Yeah, so you would need Nemo's plans, and even then, just go with a fog hopper, probably.
Yeah.
Although most fog hoppers aren't very good, and it's not a crew ability, so...
Alright.
Alright, now the generic crew.
Yeah, I'm onto the super rares down there. The Erd is the first one. This is a cursed icebreaker, 3 masts, 13 points, 3 cargo, L move. All 3 cannons are 3S, and it's also got Ghost Ship, which is kind of cool for an icebreaker, but it already ignores terrain, so I guess you stack
This
Ghost
is for
Ship
ignoring islands.
Now, exactly.
It's like a lame thematic ability.
Yeah. At least for an icebreaker. And everything else is lame too. It's very average, so I don't know. Not too good.
I still wonder if anybody noticed how I wrote up this ship in the ranking thread for icebreakers. It was, what's brown and rhymes with bird? That's right, Erd.
Turd is a better one.
Well, no, that's the implication.
Okay.
It's like, oh yes, you thought I was going to say turd, but it's Erd. Yeah, it's icebreakers as a whole are pretty mediocre, and this is bad among them. So this is a pretty bad ship. I think you're next, Ben.
Oh, I just did that one though. Unless we want to reset. Yeah.
Who did Runes of Serpent?
Yeah, I did Runes of the Serpent. Yeah. So maybe Billy does Verdani, and then we just restart at Runes of Death.
All right, cool.
All right, that sounds good. All right. Okay, so the Verdani, or Verdani, whichever. 16 point. Yeah. 16 point ship, 2 masts, base move L, 2S, a cursed longship, and fear. If this ship succeeds at a boarding party, she may eliminate all of the other ship's crew. Not a particularly good combination of abilities here.
It's a particularly bad one, I'd say.
Yeah.
I like the 2S cannons on it, but that's about it.
It's expensive, and it's a bunch of overpriced abilities.
Yeah.
It's like 3 overpriced abilities. That's what it is.
Yeah, I agree.
It is really.
Yeah, I guess if you get the first shot in, you got 4 2S cannons, and then blast them, kill all the crew. But you're probably not going to get the first strike anyway. They don't have a lot of extraction crew, and it's kind of slow. So yeah.
Yeah, this one might be tolerable at 12 points.
Yeah, I think.
But it's not 12 points.
Yeah, I think with like 4 cargo or lose the fear, I think that could make it more interesting. But it's kind of rough as is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Next one, Runes of Death. This treasure takes up 1 cargo space. At the beginning of each turn, eliminate 1 crew from the ship. If there are no crew, eliminate a mast instead. Once all of the ship's crew and men have been eliminated, eliminate runes of death. And then I think it can't be unloaded from the ship, I'm pretty sure. So
yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, so this one's one of the more devastating negative UTs. Not as automatically awful as like Missionary or Plague, but it takes a toll over time. So yeah,
it's a slow, painful death.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a pretty one.
Yep.
I guess it's kind of up there with them because it kind of will disable a gold runner, but yeah.
This will ruin a game pretty darn quick.
Speaking of ruining games pretty darn quick, we're getting into promos, and it sounds like you're getting into third tier. Yeah. Promos. To kick it off, we've got USS Kettering, which is kind of almost undebatably the best longship.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, it's kind of funny. The Americans got the best of each kind of the major new ship types in Mysterious Islands and in Frozen North. Anyway, Kettering is 16 points for a 3-masted longship, so it's still kind of expensive like the rest of them. It has 3 cargo space, nothing special. It has SL move, which is the best of any longship. Especially 3-masted. Yeah. All its guns are 3L, and that's like nothing super special, but that is respectable. And it has the canceller ability. And because, it's American, it has much better crew selection than any of the Viking ships do.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Eternal.
Yeah.
There's 1 point Eternal, guys.
Yep. A 1 point Eternal, a captain, and a helmsman, and you've got yourself a ship that is going to cause your opponents so much misery.
I like Brent Rice too, World Hater, because you've got 6 shots, so the +1 is really good on a lot of firepower.
You could forego the helmsman because this is fast enough.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I have a fleet where it's got the Minuteman flotilla up behind it for like 10 shots.
Oh yeah.
So 10 shots moving at SL with canceling. So and some with extended range. Yeah, pretty bad, pretty devastating.
Yeah, the Kettering is an awesome ship. There's like one on eBay for $50 that nobody has touched because it's not worth $50.
Not quite.
Not really.
It's like a $20 ship.
I was about to say that.
Yeah, it's worth the $20, and I'm trying to get my hands on one. Somebody sell me one, please.
Wouldn't we all like to have one of these?
I feel like Ben has like a stash of 80 of them that he's literally sitting on. His chair is supported by a stack of 80.
That'd be awesome, but I would have sold them.
Oh man,
yeah, that would be $1,600. That'd be great.
Yeah, I did get really lucky when I got a Frozen North box in 2014 from Hills Wholesale Gaming because the pack had the Kettering. I just got super lucky. So
nice.
Yeah.
Anyway. It's getting late, so let's steamroll through these. That's probably going to be the one we talk most about.
Yeah.
HMS Bartlesville.
Bartlesville.
I don't know how to say that. 1-masted ship, 12 points, 2 cargo space move L, 2S cannon, long ship, and world hating.
Just a basic.
You're not getting much for 12 points there.
Yeah.
Nope.
Reminds me of the Yggdrasil. Pretty much.
The Yggdrasil.
I would say this is worth 7 points.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
And then we can skip the Silver Explorers.
Yeah.
Which means Ben gets to talk about his favorite ship in the entire set.
Yeah, this one's weird. This is really bizarre. Elsinore is a 3-masted Viking longship, limited edition. 15 points, 5 cargo, S move. The cannons are the worst of any longship in the game. 4L, 4L, 5L, so it's got a rank 5 longship, and then it's got crew of any nationality may use their abilities on the ship, which is pretty cool, but, I mean, longships are offensively based, so doubling really bad firepower doesn't really help much, so, I don't know, I guess with the ability of crew of any nationality, you could turn into some, like, super expensive, slow, like beast hybrid, but it's just not worth doing. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I haven't used it yet, to be fair. I don't think. Maybe once on Bass, I don't think so. But But yeah, I don't know. There's probably some decent combos.
I bet you there's stuff to do with this
that
we haven't thought of yet, but it's going to involve. It's going to involve 0-point delimiters.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be. Yeah.
Good luck getting one of them onto a Viking ship.
Yeah.
Well, the flavor text would imply that this should be American or English.
Well, the ability is crew of any nationality may use their abilities.
Oh yeah, 0-point crew can only be assigned to a ship of their own nationality. I forgot about that.
Oh,
that's
wait. Is that true?
Yeah, that's one of the most easily forgotten abilities.
Then use Captain Charles Richard.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, there we go.
I think that's one way to get Elsinore, so I might be able to do that.
Thought experiments for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to write this up at some point and prove that Elsinore is not as big a turret as she looks.
Yeah, it's just fun because it's essentially a ship full of cosplayers.
Yeah, that's literally what it is. That's what it says in the flavor text.
Yeah. Let's go be Vikings. Let's try it. What could go wrong?
All right, Wallace say that Elsinore is good. I can't say the same of HMS Wallace. I tried to do another pun there.
I heard that one.
Yeah. Wallace is a disaster. It's a 15-point one-mast ship. I think this is the second most expensive one-mast ship in the game.
Maybe.
It's 15 points. And for those 15 points, you get two 3S guns, because it's a longship, 3 cargo space, SS move. If this ship succeeds at a boarding party, choose 2 of the following: eliminate a crew, take a treasure, eliminate a mast. You're not going to be winning any boarding parties, though, because this is a one-masted longship. Okay, you can throw a boarding bonus on it, but then your base roll is, your base value is still just 3. This isn't good.
Nope. Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it would see much usage at 7 points. It would still be pretty mediocre. I mean, I don't know.
It might sort of be worth kind of using as a novelty at 6 or 7.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah, just to see you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, 6 points it might, but
next one's better at least.
Oh yeah.
A little.
Sotez Requin. 3 masts, 16 points, 2 cargo space, base move of L, 3 L cannons across the board, longship and fear. On the expensive side, but this is a much better ship than the super rare Verdani. Kind of.
Yeah.
If only because it's bigger. Both ships still have fear, still have 2 cargo, still have base move L, but the Requin is a little bit more durable because of that extra mast.
Yeah, and
it's got the nice little artwork on the sails.
Yeah,
too.
and the firepower
is the cursed insignia and a bone-looking masthead.
Yeah, yeah.
And because it's cursed, for the most part, it has a better crew selection.
Yeah, true.
For the most part.
Okay, it's better crew selection than the Vikings. Not so much better crew selection than anything else.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
It's an okay gunship for the cursed.
It's better, not good.
Yeah, I mean for the cursed, I'm thinking for the cursed you get captain, helmsman, maybe an oarsman to protect those 2. You got about 21, 22 points moving LS with 6 3L shots. That's not terrible for the cursed. I mean they're not a very good faction, so it's a reasonable option I think for them.
But the reason why Sotez gets forgotten is because of some others that will come up on later.
Exactly. Yeah, I almost said that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
The next one is Icicle. This one's a pirate longship, 1 mast, 10 points, 3 cargo, SL move, 3L cannon, and crew can't be eliminated unless she sinks. This one's not too bad. The pirates have way better ships like the Raven. This one's, I don't know. You could do like a captain, an oarsman, and get a few coins, maybe. Get a little support gunship. It's not too bad compared to the other one-masted longships. And this is another example of the pirates getting a discount. I feel like if the Vikings had this to be like 18 or something, I don't know. It's not too bad. It's not that bad, actually.
Yeah. Also not too bad is Baba Yaga, which is another cursed 3-masted longship. All of its guns are a base rank of 3S, although this longship gets World Hater. And for 15 points with 3 cargo and L move, you're getting effectively 6 2S guns and a reasonably solid crew selection, as I was talking about earlier, making this overall the third best three-masted longship.
Possibly.
I don't know about that. I think there might be a longship coming up soon that takes the crown for third best, maybe. Assuming the Kettering is...
No, Kettering's number one. The one I think you're talking about is number 2. This is number 3.
Oh. Okay. Maybe you could make a case that the fronting is...
Fronting is close.
Yeah, Nagling and Hugin are close too. It's pretty tight, I think. It's tough to
then maybe one that's...
let's see. I think it's kind of like a toss-up in the middle. Like, there's a few at the top, and then there's kind of bad ones. But then the middle is pretty debatable, I think, in ranking.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. All right. So, who's going to do Kalalit?
Oh, this one's weird.
I believe that's me.
Yep.
Kalalit. Or whatever.
This one's bizarre. A-L-A-L-L.
We got a one-masted Viking longship, 13 points. Oh, goody, it's expensive.
Somebody assembled this one wrong.
Oh,
look in the photo.
I didn't notice that.
Oh, they did.
How do you assemble a one-masted longship wrong?
Okay, to be fair, longships are hard to put together.
Yeah,
they are, especially the one-masters.
To be fair, they're
then
hard
again,
to put
how do you put together a four-masted schooner wrong?
Yeah, it looks weird.
That is the one I have questions with.
Yeah.
Anyways, 3 cargo spaces, 13 points. S plus L move. Yeah, it's reasonably quick. A 2S cannon, and longship, and +1 to boarding rules against sea monsters. Come on.
Yeah, pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose that the accuracy is nice, and the speed is decent. But the ability and the point cost are hugely problematic.
Yeah. I would just use it as like an empty Viking Gold Runner, just because they don't have any other good options. Actually, yeah, I've done that a couple times, or once or twice.
You have this one? Nice.
I think so. Yeah. Pretty sure. And I'm pretty sure I do actually. And if I haven't, I may have used it on Vassal once. But anyway, the next one.
Do you have the next ship?
Yeah. But this one, I think I traded for it a while back. Yeah. The Loki's Revenge is a cursed 3-masted longship. It's 15 points, 4 cargo, S move. All 3 cannons are 2L, and they're doubled basically with the longship keyword, so 6 2L cannons. And then you've got SAC built in, which is huge. Once per turn, eliminate one of the ship's cargo to give her an extra action. So this one's really devastating. One of the best firepower deals in the whole game. Really slow, but just devastating. So I do usually SAC Captain Phantasma for Mosin's Edge, and then a helmsman, and then you have space for up to 3 oarsmen. So then you can move around at SS, and get up to 12 shots at 2L. So amazing. So and also before
wouldn't that violate the action limit?
No, because you still got it's just 6 times 2 basically. Because 2 actions with the doubled cannon. So
okay.
And then the flavor text is actually one of my all-time favorites in the game. It says, the Loki's Revenge spews fire like some kind of deranged god, an ability that science has yet to explain. So, one of my favorite curse ships, and it looks really cool, too. So
yeah, it does.
Yep.
Yeah, the figurehead is like a skull instead of dragon heads and all that.
This one got put together wrong as well. This next one.
Oh, yeah, no, this looks so bad. Anyway, after Loki's Revenge comes HMS Regent, which is a reject because it's 13 points, got a 2L gun on this one-masted longship, 2 cargo space, SS move, cannot be shot at by ships with an S of her, and nobody will care because they'll just ram it. That's all there is to say about it.
Yep.
All right.
Next one's weird.
All right, moving on. We've got Kalmar. 18 points, 3 masts, Viking. Base move S, 2S, 2S, 2S. Longship, and this ship may dock on an enemy home island and load up to 2 treasures. If able, she must leave on your next turn. So, very similar to the Hrunting, but a point more expensive and with 2 more cargo spaces. Nice firepower.
I wouldn't use the ability because it's just not fast enough to get away.
Yeah, it's not
good
fast enough to
firepower
get away, but this is a very nice little, well, not little. This is a very good gunship with the 2 S's.
It is, and because of the big hold and high cost and great firepower, I would just use this as kind of a maximized gunship. Shina Duex, helmsman, I think Sigurd Anderson.
Yeah.
And maybe there's more to do on top of that, like whatever that Dr. Crew was. Yeah. If he fits, because I've listed like at least... No, he doesn't fit, because I just listed 14 points of crew.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so I wouldn't use the Doctor. I'd just like throw a meat shield on there. He's like, if I lose a boarding party, I'll just have this guy die instead.
You could do a shipwright and a cannoneer on top of that, or some other combination of generics. But
Fire cost specialist, maybe.
Yeah, that's another option.
Yeah.
All right. Next up is
Dharma.
I believe that's you, Ben.
Yeah. Dharma's pirate 2-masted, or 1-masted longship. I always get confused because this one just has a card for a picture. 1-masted longship, 11 points, 4 cargo, SS move, cannon is 3S, and you've got treasure trading with an enemy ship with an S, which is really pretty much useless. The cargo is good, but everything else is poor or worse. So.
Yeah, the ability's terrible.
Yeah. Oh well.
All right. Now we can get on to the Nordic Raider pack, which to acquire, I think you had to punch out like little weapon coins that you found on the cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some of the generic crew with the treasure. Some of those.
Yeah, they had them instead
like
of treasure
axe,
coins.
Yeah, helmet,
shield, spear, helmet.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a mailing.
They had their own unique individual attributes, and then the Raider stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, the first of them is Polaris, which is another icebreaker. This one's 12 points, 4 cargo, L move, 3L, 3L, 3S, and then basic reroll. This is decent among icebreakers, but it's nothing special as far as 3-masted ships as a whole go.
Yeah, this is probably my favorite icebreaker because it's thematic, it's Viking, it's tough to acquire, it's expensive, it's cheaper than the Beowulf and it has a better ability, and it's the perfect spot for Sigurd, which is the only good way of getting double actions anywhere with the Vikings. So the Polaris is one of my favorite Viking ships and my favorite icebreaker, so pretty solid as they go. But yeah. Anyway. I love the next one.
All right. So have I got Serpent's Fang?
Yep.
All right. Serpent's Fang, 2-mast cursed longship, 13 points, 4 cargo spaces, base move L, 3L and 3L on the cannons. And if a sea monster begins its move with an L of this ship, it gets plus L to its base move. Not necessarily bad if you've got sea monsters you want to make quicker. But certainly not completely brilliant. I think I've only ever used this in the campaigns. Most notably, I think it was in the first Century Economy that I did. And the Cursed launched that gigantic sea monster squad.
Yep. Yeah, this is one of my favorite, like, personal ships. I've become, like, not notorious, but, like, I don't know, I've used it a bunch in physical games, and it's really fun. It looks really cool, too. It's got a serpent on the main sail.
Yeah, and the little cursed flag thing on the rear sail.
Yeah, I love using this one. I really do think it's underrated. The cargo's solid. It's a reasonable, like, hybrid almost. I think, compared to the other 2-masted longships, I think this is a really good price point, actually. I don't even really think it's overpriced that much. The 3L guns, I should say. 4 shots of 3L, pretty solid. I like pairing it with at least 2 and preferably 3 or 4 sea monsters that run out ahead. And I like to put the Hag of Tortuga on a curse ship that's a little bit faster than Serpent's Fang, so then I can get a double LL bonus for those creatures. Can work pretty well. I've actually used the Serpent's Fang pretty effectively multiple times. I think it's one of the most underrated ships, maybe in the whole game. You have to use it right, and 40-point games not going to be as good. But I have a big soft spot for this ship, and one of my favorite curse ships. Really cool name. Just I can't say enough about it. That's good. So I love it.
Yeah, I believe I got this in an eBay lot of ships. It was just there. So I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I used to think that this ship was garbage, but when Ben explained it to me, I kind of got it.
Yeah.
I guess then we will finish up this episode with Odin's Revenge, which is the unique treasure from the Nordic Raiders pack. When revealed, eliminate 1 mast from every ship in play, then remove Odin's Revenge from the game. And this is another one that, if paired with Nemo's plans, would ruin everything.
Yeah.
That would literally end the game.
Take out swarm fleets of like a whole bunch of 1-masted ships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
which are already not super viable strategies.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's pretty devastating. I'm not a huge fan of it, especially because I play somewhat larger games some of the time, so like taking a mast out of every ship is like really a chore.
It's like, did you really have to play this? This is an 800-point game.
I know, it's so annoying. I mean, I haven't really experienced it in that, but I've certainly thought about the possibility. So, yeah. It's kind of like a borderline banned item in campaign games because it's just a chore, and it affects everybody equally. So it doesn't even really do that much. It's just kind of like, come on, I don't know.
Or at least it looks equal, but if somebody is banking on using a ton of smaller ships, suddenly it hurts more.
Yeah, it's one of the best counters to the Swarm Fleet, which can be pretty effective. So.
Yeah, I mean, even if I don't think all of the Nordic Raiders pack is all that good, especially compared to the Message in a Bottle pack, I still want it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. All 3 game pieces are playable, and for the Vikings and Curse, the 2 ships they got are pretty good for their respective factions. And I just thought, Bill and I played that 16 fleet game to finish T2. Swarm Fleet won that one. Odin's Revenge was in the mix. I don't think they would win that.
Yeah. Although, to counter your point, you said everything in this pack is playable. Everything in Message in a Bottle pack is significant. Is really good.
Yeah.
Mercury, Slipstream, Thane Heartless.
Yeah, it's a
and
bit
Abandoned Crew is kind of neat.
Yeah, outside of the UT, I would Odin's Revenge. I would say the MI pack is more like unique than this one.
Yeah,
I like both. Definitely. I have a soft spot for these ships.
As a whole, now actually, since we've reviewed both Mysterious Islands and Frozen North, which would we actually say is a better set as a whole? Because I feel like we've stopped to talk about more things in Mysterious Islands, and I don't know, I'm kind of split. I used to think Mysterious Islands was still like a notch worse, but now I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I think Frozen North is a little better. I feel like Mysterious Islands MI has more like really mediocre ships, but there's certain ships in Frozen North that stand out, like Diamond Strike and White Rose, and for me, Serpent's Fang, Loki's Revenge. There's a decent amount of standouts, whereas for me personally, I feel like Mysterious Islands is more mediocre across the board, and Frozen North is largely mediocre, but there's more like shining, stars, I guess.
Yeah.
And like
one way to put it, I suppose.
Yeah, like Grim the Savage. Sense.
There's Grim the Savage, there's USS Kettering.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's stuff like Atlanta, which is just kind of forgotten. There's there's the Maryland.
Yep, Rosal. Alma. Yeah,
whereas
Albany.
I guess
almost every single 5S ship from this set, with the exception of the Stoneheart and the Shetland, are good in some way.
Yeah, they're pretty solid. Yeah.
The Stoneheart, the only thing it has going for it is the reroll, which is, even though it's a great utility ability, it's kind of
Yeah.
And I don't really like the Shetland because it's not very accurate. and really rather slow. But other than that, all the other fives, the Tartessos, the Atlanta, the Delacroix, all have something good going for them.
Yeah, and then in Frozen North, the high numbered pieces are a little better because you get Kettering and Loki's Revenge, whereas Mysterious Islands has almost nothing worth using of the at least promos. So.
Yeah, you do make a good point there. And looking back through like the list of combinations I wrote down from Mysterious Islands, there's actually less that's been worth like saying, yeah, let's have a look at this later.
Yeah.
So I guess Frozen North still does edge Mysterious Islands, but there definitely is still some notable stuff in both sets.
Yeah, and I would say in terms of signature stuff, Mysterious Islands are more easily abused and break the game way more than icebergs. So in terms of balance, the signature stuff for MI is a little more wacky. So a little less.
And also, submarines are a much better one-off ship type than longships.
Yeah, they're better executed even if they are
hide underwater. Can't be shot at while they're down there for the most part.
Yeah. All right. Any other parting thoughts on the set?
No, I think I'm good. Yeah.
I'm good.
It's darn hard to acquire.
Yeah, it's pretty tough.
I wish I had some more of them.
Yeah, it's pretty expensive. Yeah. All right. Yeah, this was episode 18 of the Pirate CSG podcast, and this is the three of us signing off for now. So have a good night. Thanks for listening.